I have a wonderful electronic invention I want you to see.
Hello and welcome to the VALORANT Verizon Game Changers 2025. We're here for Stage 2, all the way to our lower final between YFPX and Wadada.
Oh, they might end up B as well.
Okay.
They are, but Oriental's in the right place at the right time. And disaster for Wadada makes that 4 and rewarded the ace for Zoriental. Weird spot, but forget about the money. They might be able to snatch this round back in a 5v3. It's just a threat. And Femboy takes the bait. Hook, line, and sinker. And now the ult used. Astralis gets the last. But there's a judge.
There always
Judge
is.
Trouble. Oh, the judge is trouble. That's 2. 3. Unbelievable. The third I thought wouldn't deliver. 13-10 for Wadada.
That haunt probably wasn't catching them when they're playing solo rounds. That's why it surprised them so much. Oh, it's just what?
I mean, how do you clear? Yeah, then you've got... Uh-oh. Okay. That's a problem. 2v2, ult used. Immediately cleared out. Corrupt is down to 22 HP. This is winnable. Corrupt with the peak, the shoulder peak, and perfect self. Holds it to half. Starbound gets the last. Wadada win 13-4. Third half away. Will fall. And Power Patel has to do a 1v4. 2, 3, already found! And this time it's Power Pixel! Corrupt in a tough spot, smoked out, not allowed to play. Astralis though, isolate these main fights. All Astralis can do is push forward. Oh! Astralis can do that! YFP secure round 3. They're gonna take us to sunset. Shards down, but close tick, waiting on the other side. There's not enough neon movement in the world for that. It's close. Another one out of the sky. 3 on the round. Flank is inevitable. It's likely, and it will come through. We're going the distance. It's a 2v3. Starbound holds the line. The swing into 3. And Zoriental gets away. Power with Odin. And another filthy shot. Can they commit to getting a spike down? I believe there might be enough time. Takes the fight. And Corrupt wins it out. A 3K to send Wadada packing and book a ticket to the grand finals.
Game Changers. It's about competition, pure happiness. It's like a crazy experience. We're making history. It means so much to us.
It's good to be back.
I guess you know what I've been looking for, success.
The beauty of gaming is it doesn't matter who you are. And as long as I'm good enough,
Everybody's getting a 4K.
I can go as far as I want.
That's what I like to see, baby.
全世界都会知道我们的厉害。
Dear friends, it's the Sunday game. Welcome to Grand Final Sunday of VALORANT Game Changers North America, presented by Verizon. I'm Doug. I've got Dan and Wyatt with me on the desk. And if you guys are sitting at home and you hadn't really kept up with the show and you still don't really have a pulse after that hype video that we just saw, I don't really know what to tell you. I think you got to get that checked out. Wyatt, you weren't there yesterday, but give me your general impressions. How did that make you feel on the inside?
My general impressions are that this whole main event actually has been one of the most hype, closest main events we've had in some time. Like, so many of these teams have elevated themselves to a level where it feels like they can beat anyone else. Like, SRG, yeah, they're in the familiar position, but they've narrowly lost multiple games already. Like, YFP, Wadada, both super dangerous. That could have gone either way. This has been a sick bracket, and I think it's going to result in the biggest test that SRG may have ever had coming out of one of these regional tournaments.
Dan, give me a little quick TLDR for those who may have not watched the series yesterday or were off doing something that was infinitely less important than watching that match. What went down yesterday?
Well, yesterday was insane because it was a best of 5, but it was not the best of 5 that you were expecting. We knew that it was going to be close, but we don't often see a reverse sweep taking place and being successful. That is exactly what YFP were able to do. It seems like Wadada, they were going to close it out, potentially in 3 after they got the first 2 maps. And then map by map, it was a YFP coming back and now being in this instance in that grand final for that reason.
And that really sets the stage for the point situation. We've touched on it a little bit. And Wyatt, I don't know if it's your deep, sultry voice or your eyes, but people seem to listen to you. So I'm going to let you be the one to explain the point situation here. What's the current state of the state?
It's honestly not that confusing. I'm going to try my best to make that the reality, Doug. But basically, Shopify, no matter what, win or lose, they're relatively safe. With a loss, they make it to the LCQ, so they still have a chance to go to GCC. If they win, they just get there. YFP, though, this is do or die. If they lose, they don't have enough points to go to the LCQ. Their year is done, so they need the win. And what's hanging in the balance is Wadada. They're just going to be watching and hoping that Shopify win, because their 12 points, their lead in that regard against YFP, will get them to LCQ. So there's 3 teams in contention, and Shopify could save Wadada. You know, despite them losing that crazy game to YFP yesterday, they might get the spot over them.
Beautifully said. Yeah, I think that sets the stage for everything that's gone on. And again, he said it eloquently. I think we picked the right guy. Let's talk about the match today, right? Because we're talking grand finals. We've got 2 heavy hitters, and Dan, this is a rematch. We've seen these 2 teams dance before.
2 days ago, we saw this match take place, and it was going all 3 maps. For a second, we thought it was going to be actually a 2-0 for the side of YFP, because they were looking incredible. They had the lead as well into that sunset map with an 8-4 going into that second half. And then things kind of slipped through their fingers. They were not able to close it out. There was a comeback as well that started with a 2v4 for the side of Shopify Rebellion that pushed them all the way into the overtime, and in the end, eventually winning this map of Corrode. But it was really good to see, because as you guys were saying before, it is a showcase of how close these matches have been, and how Shopify Rebellion can get tested once again today against YFP.
Yeah, I mean, the parity, I think Wyatt, you were mentioning it as well. It just seems like the competition is at a place it's never been before. I even had this conversation with Mel very briefly 2 days ago after their win, and it just seems like competition is at an all-time high, and I think that makes for really good television. I think it makes things really stressful for the players, but lo and behold, we don't need to worry about that, because we're just talking heads on a screen. Let's introduce YFP, one of the 2 teams that are going to be on the stage, the proverbial stage, later on today. I think these are names that if you have missed out the last little bit, you've got to be, you got to pay attention. Now's the time to do it, because this team has been putting people on notice all stage. Wyatt.
Yeah, the addition of 2 relatively unknown upcoming players in Glowstick and Sherrod has taken this team from a solid contender to these guys might be good enough to beat SRG and get straight to the GCC. Like, they are that legit, and they have, not in any way succumbed to the pressure of participating in their first main event, being in a lower bracket final like they were yesterday. Like, they are some really strong players.
But also, this is massive too for this side of YFP, because we always talk about Shopify Rebellion making it to the grand finals, but for YFP, if they're able to win today, it would be for the 5 players the first time that they make a Game Changers international event. So there's a lot of pressure for them, not only to win, because that's the only way they can make it, since they can make it through points, but also to be sent to Korea, which is the dream of so many players that we've been able to see throughout the bracket. So YFP, they have a lot of pressure, but they've been showing a lot of great things in the past couple of days.
Yeah, I think one player that has shown more than just a few great things over the last couple of days is Sherrod. Has taken maps, has taken rounds over by storm. We actually had a chance to talk with them a little bit earlier, and get their thoughts. So take a listen.
Hey guys, my name is Sherrod and I play for YFPX.
I mean, first off, yes, Sherrod already in his 4th position, which
SRG are not left with many options. Now Japan has to hold her own on an island looking for a raft, and there is the ace for Sherrod.
Our team's performance has been really great. We haven't let up a map yet, unlike any other teams. Individually, myself, I feel like I could do a lot better. I just also hold a very high standard for myself in every match, so we all really trust in our IGL Wiley Corrupt's calling, and we think that if we just listen to him with all his experience, we should be able to take care of it, no problem. Well, we do have a very experienced IGL. Our IGL Corrupt was competing in BCL for a long time, so kind of just are trusting our practice and trusting in each other, and we think that if we do that and just keep our confidence up, then it should just be like all the other matches, a clean little 2-0. One issue that we ran into is that Wiley is also on a VCL team, so we have to do a lot of our practice without that, and Nora, Scary Shark, really does a great job in practice by bringing us up and IGLing in substitute with Wiley. So I just want to give her a big shout out for all the work she's been putting in the off season that no one really sees. As far as the expectations go, I feel like Our team has really high expectations for how far we go because we know that we have a really solid team of 5 players, and we do feel like people maybe been sleeping on us a little bit and our talent, but we're just happy to be showing everyone that we know what's up and that we can win these matches. And as far as the expectations for Korea goes, I know my team all really wants to go. So I think that's a big motivator for us, and it's not really like scaring any of us because it's a really big goal and it's something we're all really fighting for. If we get to go to LCQ, that would be a blast because that just means another chance at going to Seoul. It does hold a big meaning in my heart. I went to a Columbus, Ohio land in 2014. And ever since then, it's been a big dream of mine to be able to play on the big stage with the big crowd. So winning this and winning the grand final would mean the world to me. Yeah, I'd really like to thank Nima, first of all, for taking a chance on me and allowing me to play for his team and his brand. Secondly, I'd like to thank Wiley for asking me to join the team and all my teammates for all the hard work they've been putting in. Thirdly, I'd like to thank all my friends for watching, Frank, Shane, Antonio, Owen, my dad, my brother Jack. They always watch all my matches, and it really just motivates me to play the best I can. I guess my final words would be just don't set your expectations too high because you don't know what we're working with over here, and we can beat you at any moment.
You know, deeply insightful video. Up until the very end, I've got a bone to pick there because I think if we had seen that at the beginning of the year, maybe I would buy the fact that people don't know what they're working with. But as I was saying earlier, Wyatt, Sherrod and this team really as a whole, but Sherrod in particular, have put the stage on notice.
For sure. I mean, dropped 30 in the last map against SRG, and it was tragic that they couldn't get it over the finish line there. But regardless, that is still a testament to the level that they're playing at right now. Have been the most dominant Sentinel player in this main event. So impressed. Debut main event, grand finals in the first attempt in one of these Game Changers tournaments, which is just so sick.
They have been incredible, and especially in that match that they played against Shopify Rebellion, but also before a few of the early matches that they played as well. You get to see not only the impact that they have when it comes down to, you know, getting these multi-frags and getting 30 kills, ending up plus 27, but also opening a lot of these rounds, whether it's going to be with the Chamber, with Cypher a few times, and also mainly with that Clove that was fighting so hard until the very end against Shopify Rebellion, trying to make it to the grand final through the upper bracket. Today, now they have another chance, and we're gonna see if they're gonna be in their A game to turn things around as well and show us something extra that felt like was missing a little bit last time.
Yeah, I do think for Sherrod, an opportunity to maybe best where things went sideways, I guess. Wyatt, you were the one who mentioned it. These stats are insane. I mean, to drop that many with that, to go, what'd you say, was plus 27? The last time YFP played Shopify is just unreal.
It was ridiculous. I mean, it was the win on Lotus playing the Chamber, and then into the Clove dropping 30 on map 3.
And unfortunately not able to get it over the finish line. But with the new day comes out the new opportunity to best their demons once more. Speaking of the demons that they're going to be going up against, it's Shopify Rebellion. I think every time we have the opportunity to talk about this team, I can't help but mention them this way and describe them this way, but it's just so true. They're household prolific winners in this stage. If you know anything about Game Changers, you know about the players on this team, and you know about this team. Dan, what is it that makes Shopify so special?
It's not only the fact that this core has been together for such a long time, but the fact that they've been putting the work since the beginning, since that first Game Changers, and even before. You talk about Mela and Alexis and how, it's not only about winning Game Changers, but also getting that extra experience. We talked about how they were the first Game Changers team to make it to Challengers earlier this year, and most recently they were actually playing that promo relegation. And that is that those extra matches, those extra officials that allow them to be a little bit more calm, more ready for when they come into these grand finals once again. Because even if they're always winning, things get a little tricky sometimes, and especially against YFP that put them to the test last time.
Yeah, they got pushed a little bit. They managed to figure that out. We actually had the opportunity to talk to another player, this time on the side of Shopify, who has been there from the very beginning. I think when you think about winning, you think about Lexi, and here she is sharing a little bit about what's been going on.
Hi, I'm Alexis, and I play for Shopify Rebellion Gold.
Alexis clutched this round out, mowed them down. They didn't collect the weapons. Goes and set on the offensive.
Was second round res. Gonna play it for the kill, and it's only to put Melly in a coffin, the clutch.
My performance and my team's performance throughout the stage, I feel like we were a little bit chungus against Blue Water. Just aren't used to playing that really slow play style, to be honest. But we adapted and won the game, so it's fine. Against 100 Thieves, I low-key was just Thanos. I mean, my team also is playing incredible, but I had a crazy game against 100 Thieves. I feel like against YFP, they play just a default regular schmegular Valorant, which is what we're good at countering. They seemed quite confident going against us. I'm not sure why. I've seen some tweets and some things from their coach. Going into it, we are pretty confident. I'm not particularly worried about any team that we're going up against. In regards to Wadada, I feel like they're definitely the team that has given us the most problems. So I was a little bit surprised to see them going to the lower bracket, although I know half of that team has like 9-to-5 jobs. Like, they're not full-time playing Valorant. They have good mindset. I think they'll be able to come out lower bracket. It's easier for us to just focus on our own game and focus on what we're doing and what works best for us and try and get into our own flow state than it is to focus on what the other team is doing. Dodonut is an insane duelist. I know that she feels some pressure on herself to kind of perform and carry us every game, but she doesn't have to do that. We all have each other's back. If she's not carrying, someone else is carrying. If no one's carrying, we're all playing really well. So she's like a sponge. Like, everything we tell her, she applies really, really quickly. She's like a sweet little baby angel that I could just like hold in my hands. Like, she's just such a little baby. But going into champs, the only thing we'll have to think about is that she doesn't have as much experience as the rest of us do. So we'll just kind of have to hype her up and make sure that she's feeling confident on stage as well. I feel like the mechanical ceiling has gotten a lot higher and the floor has gotten a lot higher for Game Changers, for sure. I feel like a lot of people are focusing a lot on their aim and their mechanics, and I definitely see that in these matches. As far as like overall the competition, I feel like the game has just gotten harder, so the games are closer. Having more teams that were signed and had more time to allocate to practice and stuff like that, that was more difficult, because then we knew going into games that we were going to get anteed, or like, I feel like a lot of these teams that are playing right now that are unsigned deserve to be signed and paid money so they can quit their 9-to-5s. Shout out to my mom, shout out to my dad, shout out SRG cat, shout out my cat Omen at home, my actual cat, shout out my teammate Dodonut because she made me ramen last night, shout out my whole team for being the goats, shout out Effie's for having a mullet, and shout out Wyatt for being allergic to gluten. To any of the teams I'm going to be playing the rest of this tournament, good luck, soldier. Do your best.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I
didn't. Wow, I didn't expect that. Thanks, bro.
What's crazier is Alexi had the chance to call out the podcast, but chose to make fun of your gluten allergy instead.
Shut up, man. I know, it's crazy. Couldn't have, bro. If Dodo made the ramen and I was there, couldn't have even had that, bro. Sad.
All right, Shopify find themselves in the grand finals, but Dan, I almost called you Lexi. I'm sorry, Dan. They've already made their way through to something after this, right? Either they're going to Brazil to play through LCQ, or they're going to Seoul, and they're already auto-qualifying. But they have made it this far because of their success throughout the whole year.
Of course, they found that victory, that grand final victory for stage 1, and now going to stage 2, they make it to the grand finals through the upper bracket once again. So they have a chance to get that first spot. And I know we talk about, you know, getting second or making it through points and going to LCQ, but that's a lot, and that is not something that you want to be doing, honestly, because you're going to be traveling to Brazil, which is pretty far from the US. It's going to be at least 10 hours, I think, for everybody to play
for
a few days,
weekend.
Try to make it, then come back to the US, and then go to Korea. I mean, it's going to be a lot of traveling as well that you, if you can, you're trying to avoid as much as possible. So for Shopify Rebellion getting this win, I feel like it's more important than ever. We talked about always in 2023 when they made it to the grand finals, but they actually lost against Evil Geniuses. I don't think that story is going to happen again, because they know the pressure that they have to make it directly to Seoul.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things we haven't really talked about a lot, is just the gauntlet, not just through a bracket or anything like that, but the physical, get your tail on a plane, fly out to Sao Paulo for 2 days, and go home. If you make it, then you're heading out to Seoul, or do you boot camp, or, you know, whatever. That's just one of the things that are happening outside of the server that make this significantly more complicated. I do think, though, as we think about the players on the side of Shopify, we've got to highlight Sarah and Mel in particular, because we gave Lexia flowers and obviously very well too, but these two players, Wyatt, specifically, have been lights out for Shopify.
I think Mel is playing some of the best games we've seen from her individually
Agreed.
in a long time. Dropped in that first series against Blue Water, had a 28 kill game, and the Corrode game to get over the finish line against YFP in the upper bracket final, drops 20 plus kills. Like, had a really sick map 2 against 100 Thieves. Like, every series on the way here, Mel has had a takeover game, which has been a treat to watch from who is typically just an IGL supportive player that historically is putting over the younger talent on the team, but is now stepping up. And as for Sarah, she's just been a consistent force in all aspects of the game, honestly, since joining this team. Like, a real all-rounder in terms of the skill set that she provides.
I know we keep talking about last time that these two teams played each other, but it's so important because these two were the reason why Shopify Rebellion were able to get that win towards the end on that map of Corrode, and also get that win on Sunset. Sarah was turning things around in that round 23 with Hunter's Fury that allowed them to not only get the opening, but push this game to overtime. And then Mel as well, everything that she was doing to turn the game around to make sure that they were able to come back was insane. Like Wyatt was saying, a lot of the experience that Mel has is really showcasing, and she's having an incredible performance this Game Changers. But Sarah as well, it seems like when the team is a little bit more quiet, when they need that extra force, Sarah is always going to be there.
I do want to say one little interesting thing real quick, is just that in the main event, Shopify right now, they're 3-0, yet in the rankings by ACS, they only have one player in the top 10 in the main event, which is Noya in 8th. It is so uncommon to see a team flawless in a playoff run, yet with only one player in that position, and it's 8th. It's just very odd to see. So I feel like whichever way you want to take it, if you want to be glass half full, maybe it's because everyone is contributing on an equal level, but if you want to be glass half empty and you're feeling like YFP could win this, there's not really like a clear star player for them taking over right now.
Yeah, even having that one player in your top 10, you'd expect it to maybe be the duelist, or a different role, but for it to be Noya in the position that she plays in is absolutely fascinating. Incredibly well said. Let's take a look at the maps and see where this best of 5 will be settled. Corrode, Abyss, Ascent, Sunset, and then Haven as the decider. If we go the distance, we did yesterday, so who freaking knows? You might as well settle in and get a little cozy here. Dan, thoughts on the maps?
This makes a lot of sense, especially towards the beginning. Shopify Rebellion, they have been banning this map of Vine, but also this map of Lotus was something that they had trouble with last time that they played against YFP, so they're going to ban it as well. As we go into Corrode and Abyss, I think this is really smart for both of the teams because they're not playing their strongest map technically that they have, but the map that is the weakest on the other side. So Corrode for YFP, for example, that is the worst map that they've played in Game Changers the entire year, and that was what was happening yesterday against Guadalajara. They lost it 4-13. And then for Abyss, it was a little bit of the same when Shopify Rebellion were playing against Blue Otter. This is the map that they lost, so both of them having a clear understanding of what the weaknesses are to start with some wins.
Yeah, I think Wyatt, Dan mentioned it and put it out exceptionally well. But is there anything really here that catches your eye? Is there, how strong of a benefit are you giving Shopify here, given that they have the double ban advantage leading into the series?
I don't think it makes a massive difference when YFP also like to ban bind constantly. It's not as influential as it could be.
Sure.
When I'm looking at the latter half of the map pool, I still have in the back of my mind, though, with Ascent, SRG's first game against Blue Water in the main event where they almost threw the 11-1 lead that they had. There's some real danger there. But if we get all the way to the end at Haven, I think that is SRG's best map, or at the very least, it's been historically their home map. So if we go all the way, they have something to rely on at the very end.
So if I were to put both of you on the spot, I think we can talk history. We can talk about their last matchup. We can talk about how YFP seem to have pushed Shopify to places that maybe we don't necessarily see them get pushed to. But given the map layout, Dan, would you still side with Shopify here if I were to ask you for a pred?
Yeah, I think so. I feel like if Corrode was not the first map, I would maybe have a different opinion or think that things are going to be a little bit closer, but this is going to be the third day in a row that YFP is playing this map of Corrode, and it's also a composition that they changed kind of recent, one that they're getting used to still, it seems like, and unless they change things drastically on the defensive side, in going into today, I think it's going to be a Shopify not only starting with a map win, but also being able to close it out in Haven as well. That's a historical Shopify Rebellion map. I mean, it's just perfect for them to close it if it goes 5.
Wyatt River Esquire, your thoughts?
I'm feeling like a 3-2 on map favorability for Shopify right now. Or I give the YFP on paper favorite to Abyss, and then Ascent. Even though that's SRG's pick, I don't trust them, because we saw them destroy 100 Thieves on it. We saw them almost throw to Blue Water on it, and YFP, they're fresh off of a convincing win over Wadada to take that series yesterday. So I'm just kind of in my mind going with the team that I feel more comfortable in knowing their level, if that makes sense. So I'm at a 3-2, though. It's not like some outrageous I think lead on a couple of the other maps that I would favor for SRG, though. Like, yes, they're in the lead on Corrode, but even still, that was so close last time that there is a real shot for YFP.
Oh, what do you guys make of YFP's performance yesterday, too? I think that's something we haven't necessarily touched on. The reverse sweep, how it seemed like they were dead to rights, and we thought the show was actually going to be really short. I was getting Fnatic flashbacks with how things played out, and it was not like that at all. Is that momentum that carries on from one day to the next?
I think it is. I think it's a huge deal that they won a reverse sweep there, and just displaying that despite having 2 players who are playing in their first grand final, Glowstick has barely actually competed at all, just started in GC back in May this year, that they can still perform under the pressure of a situation like that and come out on top with that. That is some insane momentum to be bringing into the finals. I think that's going to matter a lot.
Dan, thoughts on that? Surely that's in play here.
I think all or a lot of the credit goes to Corrupt that IGL, because bringing a game back that way is just not easy to do. I mean, we talk about VCT, we talk about challengers, game changers. This is very rare to see. So the fact that Corrupt was doing or making these calls and making it work so well to close it out in that last map, making sure that everybody is still having that energy, playing that best of 5. It is incredible. Everybody played so well, but I think today is going to be a different story, because Shopify Rebellion, if they for some reason don't get that lead, don't get that first map, they're going to try to get it right back.
Yeah, I think we mentioned it earlier too, but the team that's kind of lying in wait, sitting in the most uncomfortable seat of everyone, is Wadada, who are sitting here watching, waiting to see how things play out. I am being told that agents are here just a few moments away. Again, if you are just joining us, Corrode will be the first map in this best of 5 grand final. The stakes are pretty straightforward. For Shopify, you're either headed to Seoul or you're headed to Sao Paulo, depending on how this goes. You win this series, you're qualifying for Seoul, all is good, you get to dance with the best in the world. If you lose this series, you have to qualify in through LCQ. If Shopify loses this series, the other implications are that means YFP automatically qualifies, and Wadada is left on the outside looking in. And then if Shopify do win, Wadada's the ones who are headed to Sao Paulo. So for as much as there are only 2 teams taking the stage on the server, Wyatt, the implications of this for all 3 of these teams it's a bit of a mess. I mean, and I think I wouldn't rather have it end any other way. For this to be the year, the end of the year where everything is in disarray is a ton of fun. I'm being told agents are ready, so we'll take a look at that here in just a moment. Wyatt, I teed you up a second ago. Are you expecting any changes as far as compositions or anything like that?
No, don't see any reason. Okay, say that, but
yeah, go on.
We are going to change YFP, even despite that being so close. They want to mix things up. The Clove is gone. Sharad is moving over to the Chamber, which we have seen be a pretty potent agent on this map.
This is really, really good for YFP. I mean, I just talked about how they needed to make drastic changes in this map of Corrode if they want to get the win, because once again, they're going to be starting on the defense. And last time, they were playing for retake every single round. And the problem is that Shopify Rebellion, they have a Deadlock, they have a Cypher, and on top of that, they have a team that is going to be very overwhelming, trying to grab as much space as possible. If YFP is able to get a little bit more map control into these early rounds, they can not only secure these early rounds for the defensive side, but have everything with the waylay for attack.
Well, Corrode is the first course in this, hopefully, 5-course meal that we've got before us. All that's left is to toss it over to the caster. So, as always, the ever prolific Ender and Mimi on the call. Take it away.
Thank you very much, Doug. I'm very excited for the series, especially seeing some of the adjustments heading into map number 1. The stakes for today could not be simpler, but they couldn't be higher. For these two teams, win today, you become the champion of North American Game Changers. You also go to Korea, Seoul, for the number 1 spot. You lose today as Shopify Rebellion, you're heading to LCQ in Brazil. You lose today as YFP, and your year is over, Mimi.
Huge stakes for YFP. It is as simple as win or go home. But in a lot of ways, they have nothing to lose, no expectations to have made it here. But for Shopify, there is pressure, because going to LCQ is not a sure qualification route. We've seen how good the Brazilian teams look, the LATAM teams look. It's a long journey to make it to GCC, even as the 2-time champ.
And it will be YFP trying to mix things up after falling just short of Shopify Rebellion in the upper bracket. Had to go to the lowers yesterday, pull off a reverse sweep versus Wadada, who are waiting and hoping their year will continue here. Sherrod, so strong versus YFP on this map previously, or rather versus Shopify, but has the support of the rest of the team behind them. As they creep forward into A main. Right now it's just Alexis waiting on the other side of this wall. And she falls away at just the right time, Mimi.
Yeah, gonna be able to back up, but still at risk here.
4 players face up. First kill goes Alexis's way, and seeing all those players is gonna signal immediately to Shopify to head over into the B side.
Now pressure on Corrupt, but Corrupt's gonna give this space, leave the Viper Wall as an opportunity to retake. The question is, how well can Shopify set up? They're gonna wanna fight into elbow.
Absolutely, Noya jumping up here with a little paranoia assist. Gonna seize all of this space. Now Corrupt will hear it all, and the rest of YFP is moving in from mid. As Shopify continue to get into a great position with 2 players up in heaven, it should be very difficult for YFP to find their way back onto the site. Sherrod, the first to face into the line, and a great shot from them. Will be traded out. A little bit messy as Zoriental takes another. And now it's just Noya left on her own. Position revealed in a 1-on-2 now. Pulls up with the Sheriff, but she's got to drop down. Has to win this fight as well. Half stick on the spike, and Noya will clutch it up for a 3K on the pistol.
What an incredible clutch there from Noya, stepping up when the team needed it. That's what's highlighting. Shopify have not had one hero this tournament, but if there has been someone consistently stepping up, it has been Noya. What a Red Bull clutch for her. Cannot believe that she manages to drop out of heaven, find the reset just at the perfect time to land that headshot. It's a 1v3 in the end, and such an impactful way to start this series.
And kind of a stunner for YFP as well, who thought they had exactly the position. We went out in the round. Now again, stepping up into A main. These early nets make it really hard for Sherrod to play. But again, the rest of the team behind, and these shots from Zoriental are lethal! 4 on the round will eventually fall down. But this puts Mel with so much left to do on 46 HP.
You couldn't get any better reply than that. 4K straight back after the clutch, and now for Mel, a very tough situation to navigate. YFP have fallen back, 2 players grouped towards spawn. Corrupt still just holding down towards mid. She wants to find an isolated fight, but with just a stinger and not much health, it's going to be so hard to kill any YFP players that are set up together.
Yep, and especially on either side, a thrifty round on round number 2. That all came down to Zoriental. Now with the ultimate unlocked, running back-to-back rounds, it looked like for YFP with the A main fight. And a little bit of a bait there from Sherrod. Everyone comes through the smoke looking for the chamber. Nobody looking right in front of them.
The chamber is so
just tears
good
them apart. Yeah.
For taking that kind of extremity control, even into this deadlock composition, that the net is normally going to dominate that space, because you're happy to sit in that net, wait to teleport out, and that gives such ample opportunity for that bait to happen, to contact into that space. They'll switch to chamber side, but Shopify, a bit more concentrated towards A to start this round.
We knew from the previous times these teams faced off, we were going to have a close series. A couple maps just decided by 2 rounds. Went Shopify's way to win that one. And of course gave Shopify the benefit of coming in without playing yesterday, with watching that whole game, but still being challenged already here in the first few rounds.
For YFP, what a run it's been, though. Losing that game when they had ample opportunity to beat the best team in our region. And then going down 2 maps to start their lower final, having to run it all the way back with a reverse sweep, only to play another best of 5 today. They've shown such a resiliency to even make it to this point.
And there you go, Corrupt just ratting it up in the corner again. Shopify trying to peek on through the smokes, and again, they will fall victim to an unsuspecting angle.
And it's worth talking about. This is a new comp for YFP. But when I spoke to Corrupt last night after the win in that reverse sweep, a lot of what they were saying was that this is a team that is just pugging for the most part. Corrupt is also playing in challengers, so can't always be there with the team. But when they're going into a match, they're like, okay, what comp do we think counters this? Sometimes they're going to add a random Teo into a chamber team like Wadada, or they're going to play Shopify again on Corrode, and they're going to pull out this new Waylay comp. They're so willing to just play something fresh completely on the fly.
And that's not easy to pull up with, you know? Day after day, new ideas, but it's also not easy to react to either. Shopify is a team that is kind of the opposite of YFP. They're so drilled, they have so much time together, so much practice. But they also would have come into this game with a lot of prep and a lot of ante, ready for that, you know, typical double smoke comp with the Clove they saw previously. Very different story this time, so Mel has to figure out these rounds as they come. Already locating Corrupt's position.
Fast rotates though from YFP. They dominated mid-control early, and there's already players in sight.
Important though, YFP used the Waylay ult to stall out the hit onto B. A little spam looked like from Noya, will secure a kill. But YFP have done well to already break the deadlock wall that Alexis chucked over the top and bring a few players onto the site.
I think that was off of Sarah's start. It went unbroken as the rest of the team was distracted breaking that wall.
Yeah, YFP got some practice against the deadlock yesterday, but having to worry about the darts and things make it a little more complicated.
They still have a good crossfire here. Trademark left and Oppen and Odin to hold this line.
And Shopify haven't gone anywhere. Annihilation ready for Alexis on the entry if they need. Some teleports and flashes. Now that shock dart comes out and breaks it. Shopify Rebellion ready to teleport into the site and get this hit going. 3 players holding, though, and that ultimate goes wide. All of a sudden, Glowstick trades 1-for-1. Sherrod into the site, and Soul Survivor here takes down 2. And now 10 seconds left on the clock. Shopify Rebellion should be able to plant the spike. Nora taking her time with Paranoia, teleporting up top, but surely she's revealed, and she will fall to Alexis.
Really critical loss there early for YFP with the player getting tagged by the dart on that site. But they still had opportunities to win the round. Credit to Shopify in the way that they scaled in. This comp has a lot of tools to get through chokes, and I think even if Dodo hasn't been having some of the best individual form throughout this tournament, particularly in these last couple of games, she's been really consistent as just a full committed dive player. If she's on the Neon, if she's on the Yoru, she's always willing to TP in there. And in combination with Mel, those two work as such a duo to open up these sites.
Absolutely. So much trust between the members of Shopify Rebellion. Their teammates to have their back. Early mid-space sees as fight goes down. Sherrod again with the support of Glowstick. Just tears open the middle of the map.
Nearly did it last round for Sherrod, now finding that impact here. The SR lurkers try and find something, but yeah, Corrode's just holding that.
Alexis, considering buying a different gun back in spawn this round, has the spike, but I mean, your entire team is dead at 1 minute and 15 seconds on the clock. I don't envy this position exactly.
No, it's not the greatest, let's say. Corrupt is so aggressive when they're playing main on this map. It's something I was noticing last time they were playing.
Ooh.
Alexis gets the better of them there, but they're always going to be trying to walk up, test in the mid-round as this Viper. And this is a YFP team who, I think in part, because they are so puggy, because they do change their comp so often, you're really frequently going to see them play like 3-1-1 or 4-1s, where they're just going for something aggressive together one side and just leaving Corrupt alone. But they're just so good in those positions.
30 seconds left.
Always taking chances to step forward into the empty space. Let's see what Alexis can do. It would be a big win to be able to plant the spike, but now being tagged up by the dart makes it a lot harder. All the walls just paper, so Alexis is going to have to keep the gun out here, and try her best, but Scary Shark around the corner will take her down.
So YFP pull ahead early. Beyond just fighting up into mains, they also have great ideas of how to fight for mid control. You see teams try the chamber comps on this map sometimes. It's a bit less frequent. You do see a lot of the waylay. And I think on defense, the biggest strengths of the waylay are, one, you can actually go for fast mid-take looks. You can double dash in on either side of the map and take that space without much risk. But also, it's just such a good agent, as you saw like on that round 2, to walk up behind your chamber and kind of get into these deep in-bed positions. You can really go back and forth with the two of those.
Shopify Rebellion onto an eco now. Use a cage to cross and hopefully use the lower range to punish the operator. Not going to happen though. Sherrod is just a little bit too quick with it. Already this round starting to slip away, and now Shopify Rebellion, maybe you see a timeout in the next round, but really, Mimi, they need to be thinking about how these early fights just have continually been going YFP's way, right? It's always this chamber taking opportunities, whether it's mid or into the mains. Shopify Rebellion have been struggling to find success against it early.
Yeah, I'd like to see them try and start more towards mid in some of these rounds. They're going to go for a re-clear in this one. Zoriental is stuck. No util to really get out here.
Oh, and looking up, we'll get the one. At the same time, Nora had stepped all the way up into A main, so major control over the map, and now with a little bit of pressure to come in. And she looks to regroup with the rest of the team. Again, the little wins for Shopify is going to be planting the spike, getting the next 300 creds for the squad, but unfortunately for them, they're already maxed out on ults. It's not like they're playing for those in this round, although maybe Sarah with a rifle in hand can muster up something.
You need a Sarah masterclass here. Shopify will group towards spawn, try and get some space there, but that's not where YFP's coming. They're just going to group as 4, and that makes it so difficult for Shopify to win this.
The trade should always be here, especially now with Sarah revealing her hand. But if she can find a couple of kills, the Hunter's Fury in the back of her mind. Dart comes out, and the first one goes her way, already half stuck on the spike. And even if the kills come in, I think we're just going to be sticking the spike through. So YFP will take this one without too many worries into the round. Operator held onto. And now Shopify, that question we were asking, how do you deal with Sherrod? It needs to be something they answer, because frankly, Mimi, they never found the answer the previous time these teams faced off on Garou.
No, they really didn't. That op, once it got online, was finding so much value. And thanks to YFP winning that eco round on the second, they're going to have that op for pretty much ever on this defense now. I think Shopify really have to just start together on these extremities. And honestly, before you're even putting util in, just hold for a second, then re-clear up with the drone. Have to be very thorough in everything you do. Is this round they're going to simplify and just work on this B main space as 5.
Yep, grab that dimensional drift from Dodo. It's the same round as previous, except this time guns and the ultimate to accelerate into the site. Now YFP have 3 players here, but there is a Hunter's Fury from Sarah to try and collect 1 tag already, and Sarah, always good for one with that ability, will tear open this site, give a 2-player advantage to Shopify.
The body block there was very nice from Dodo, and with Mel TPing up heaven, this is going to be a very strong post plant when you combine that with these deadlock sensors deployed.
Yeah, deadlock to control the mid rotates, and well, Dodo and the rest of the team to peer back into spawn. Even a little teleport up into heaven from Mel to hold this crossfire with the Yoru on the other side. Shopify Rebellion, you can see with 5 players alive how comfortable they are to set up forward in the post plant. Nice shot from Dodo. Instantly take out Sherrod, and well, now Sherrod's been dealt with, I suppose. If you can avoid the chamber in the early rounds. Obviously, the last time these teams faced, it was Sherrod on the Clove, so a lot more rifling in the mix, a lot more of these active fights, mobility, but the chamber
they still
adds
found
that
just
extra
as much impact and provided just as much pressure it felt on either. Yeah, a 30 bomb to lose by just 1 round in that match. That was a real heartbreak for YFP. It's why they had to go on this whole crusade to reverse sweep in the lower final. But let's talk win conditions for these teams. I think Shopify, on their attack side, their big thing is when they can group, take a site, and get a set post plant. That's where they're winning. YFP does not have fantastic tools to get back in against the deadlock sensors, against the Cypher util. It's just so hard. Where YFP is going to win is whittling away in the mid-round, like they were doing in those early rounds. Fighting up, getting picks for Sherrod, getting corrupt in positions. That's how they want to play this.
It is interesting to me that Effys has yet to call a timeout even when the rounds were going poorly, and it speaks to me that he's liking what he's hearing from Mel in the comms. Mel has adjusted in the last few rounds, just running these full 5-player execs into mains, making sure they have bodies to be able to trade out, even if the chamber on the other side, gets the opening kill. This time Sherrod over towards B, and Shopify finds relatively weak A site. Just spotting Nora over into the corner, calling in some support, but Shopify Rebellion aren't exactly slowing down just yet. Now some purchase into the site. Spike should go down with a sensor on top of it. And it's going to be an absolute mess in the post plant with the Viper's Pit threatening a little peer out from YFP.
But they don't have a flash to get out of that, just the Omen Paranoia. It's going to be really hard to fight through that pit.
Fake teleport.
Don't exactly know where YFP go from here. They're taking their time, calling Sherrod in with the rest of the team. First part of business, very likely is looking into some elbow control, but maybe they want to try and find out where Donut is first. That what just happened? The pit comes down and all of a sudden, so does the rest of YFP. Nora, with nothing left to do, as with a simple pull down of the pit, the round ends.
And that's where some of the puggier style gets the better of you there. That pit didn't go quite deep enough to actually deny a spike plant. Where you're going to get the power is when you can be spamming as they're planting and fighting up. But as soon as you have to retake, because they're not playing Yoru, they have no choice but to drop it, and they pick the worst possible timing right as that net comes in to do so.
Because the alternative is you step out of the smoke, but then the other side has the advantage. So you run into
literally
those
have a
situations
crossfire that you're sprinting into.
get mowed down. So it makes sense to pull it down, but things going fairly poorly as again, Shopify Rebellion strong into A. This time, though, a little bit more of a lurk presence on the other side of the map.
I think this is a good read for Shopify against a team that is not going to have a super deep strat book, isn't going to have amazing protocols for the retake because they've switched their comp like a million times now, and because they are a bit of a puggier squad. If you can just force them into execs, force them into retakes, and not let them win by attrition, it's going to be really successful.
And it's strong map control as well, right? This drone going into mid after Shopify freeze. After making a lot of noise in A main. Now Dodo steps forward, but the trades aren't exactly there. Mel will eventually get into the mix. YFP a little bit stuck inside the smokes. The net stops them from peeking their little heads out. Shopify Rebellion, I'm not exactly sure if they want to advance all the way forward. They did throw that wall into Elba, but YFP have the numbers here. And now with a net of their own, a little hindrance, all of a sudden jumping up. Zoriental will drop to Sarah. Shopify Rebellion holding their ground, taking their time. Understanding that, well, yes, the clock is down to 30 seconds. YFP are the ones feeling a little bit more pressure. And yet, with 25 seconds left, they are heading into the chamber. Sherrod, who's been so lights out with the teleport setup, will get the first kill and snip away. 20 seconds left on the clock. Sherrod, 85 HP. Just has to buy some time, just has to stop the plant from going down. The clock continuing to wind, but now, with pressure coming in from both angles, Shopify Rebellion have time to get the spike down. Now utility sent back into Nora. Sarah finds 3 onto the round. And while there was a glimmer of hope for YFP, it will certainly be Shopify taking the lead once more. Unless the IGL Corrupt, with the rifle in hand, no sir, it's not going to happen.
Huge credit to Alexis. All of her grav nets that round were so impactful. Shopify slow things down, wait for the aggression to come on that anti-eco, and as they realize something's up towards elbow on it, there's a grav net. That's what reveals Zoriental's position. As they get into the B site, despite losing Mel and Sherrod having the opportunity to reposition into site, Sherrod gets caught by another grav net that then allows SR to swing in and help out. She's getting so much impact off every refresh of that piece of utility.
Well, YFP dropping 3 rounds in a row, maybe with a stronger idea to fight up into A main, getting in front of the net, but Zoriental doesn't connect on the first shot and will have to rewind back into main. Still, though, it means that Shopify Rebellion are playing a round that looks a little bit more similar to the pistol, where they don't have that full space in either of the mains. They're taking their time before regrouping into B.
No op in the hands of Sherrod this round. Money didn't quite allow it, so it looks a bit more like when they were playing the Clove, just working down into mid.
Shadows traveling.
Corrupt has always been going for these jump peaks, and Noya heard it. Now stepping forward, and that's going to be an easy punish. A little bit too much Corrupt was looking for. And now teleports going on to the opposite end of that tripwire. Shopify Rebellion are into the site, and a beautiful paranoia as well. Stops any attempt at a flood. So YFP try to go in, but glow stick goes down before getting the Hunter's Fury off. Sarah with a lurk up into mid. And now chances to get more and more kills. The utility comes in behind it. Now reveals Sherrod's position. Allows Sarah to just post up simply. YFP don't really have a chance into the round. Sarah's just gonna jump swing right into the angle,
Okay,
but
Sarah.
even then, I don't think you play this one.
I think that Brock winning champions will have done reprehensible damage to just Valorant as a whole.
Yeah.
The Odin of his... Okay, I don't want to say that Brock is the only reason that people are running the Odin, because it's always been amazing on Corrode, and Sarah has always been a big fan of it, but I just can't think of it now every time I see a player, like, lurking mid, getting 2 kills with just an Odin at long range. It's really nice from Sarah there. And Dodo's even going to clean up onto Sherrod, hurt that money a bit more for YFP. And actually, that's going to have an impact. That'll mean 1 less player with a real rifle this round.
Yeah. Well, it also means maybe YFP don't have money to buy 2 or 3 or 4 Odins. Which is
so true.
Going to put them at a distinct 1-0 disadvantage. These are the main things you think about on a map like this.
That was good of Shopify last round to keep track of Corrupt fighting for that B main space every time. Just contact up, get the punish. Now they're going to go back to these A execs that have been successful before, but the big 2 for YFP, they're here to hold.
Sherrod seems to want to challenge this a little more aggressively. Was seen through the sliver of the smoke. Now just out in the open, playing for the off angle. I'm not sure if Shopify are going to want to continue forward. Wow, they just stay open in the line. The smoke goes down. That'll be an easy kill, and well, there's no real hope of a trade. Zoriental's got a sheriff in hand. Sure, that got 4 pistols. And the eco round 2. It's a little bit of a different story, maybe not. I don't know. All of a sudden, the spam starts to come in. That'll be 2 kills, and Zoriental lights up main. Maybe a chance for Noya to activate on the lurk now. No one was looking at mid, and Noya is taking her time. Waiting for it. She doesn't just want 1, she doesn't just want 2, she wants 3. 1, 2, line them up. And they drop just like that. Corrupt, though, has been able to use this time to walk into the site. 1 player's gonna have to plant, and now Corrupt reveals. 30 seconds left on the clock. Knows there's a sensor on the corner. Can't quite find it. You can see the pressure Corrupt is feeling in this moment. And yet still challenging onto the line to jump swing, and Alexis comes through for Shopify.
What excellent patience out of Noya on the lurk. YFP nearly wrangled control of that round. Credit to Zoriental with the Sheriff doing damage. But Noya bides just enough time to find the gap, walks in for 2, and Alexis follows up so well to end up winning that round. This is now 5 in a row that Shopify have won after getting ecoed and losing control of this map. They are staunchly in command.
Yeah.
And YFP now have a last chance here with rifles.
And again, it's surprising. It's 5 in a row without a timeout called. This is Mel finding the answers on her own. This is Effie's trusting her to be able to do that. As again, Shopify just continue playing for mains. This has just been the solution. And again, it is with the dimensional drift to come into the site. Now Sarah doesn't have the ultimate to follow off of, so this time it's going to be Dono trying to peek on out. Sarah with the Odin, just full entering into the site, but Nora up on top is making things all sorts of chaotic. It'll be Shopify with a slight edge coming out into the post plant.
But this wall is up, so YFP, they're staggered out. These last 2 players are going to have to try and work through 1 choke point.
Sherrod with the operator in hand. They're not even trying to break it. They don't want to reveal where they are on the map. And this is good for them. This causes Shopify to keep thinking about elbow, thinking about the flank. But now Zoriental not ready behind the box. That first kill, a little bit labored. Sherrod will secure the trade, but needs more time, needs more assistance. It's Sherrod versus the world, and the world is just stronger. Shopify Rebellion lead 8-4 at the half.
They found the solution, and it was as simple as slow down the beginning of these rounds, take mains as a pack, go for more executes, and then set up these excellent post plants with the deadlock. For Sherrod, that was the most impactful player. The last time these teams played, they got cut off for the rest of that first half. Now going into the second, things change a little bit. It's YFP instead who gets to show us what they have ready with this new composition.
I mean, obviously you talked earlier about the benefits of the Waylay. It's seizing a lot more early mid space. To me, it looks like that's exactly what we're going to be getting. Positioning now for a split.
I think the best counter is that the net is also excellent to take that space. That's what Shopify is setting up to throw early.
Shopify have 4 players ready to meet this fight. But there's the double dash, as mentioned, and immediately pulling back from the team. So it's Shopify with full mid control. That means quick rotations over into the A site, but maybe not quick enough. YFP already blitzing back towards elbow. As Shopify are quick on their heels. See Donut with quick teleport into backside. More support on the way. It's these opening fights that'll be everything. Traded evenly for now. As a wall stops any sort of advance, allows Mel to worry just about the advance from Yard. And now with Noya coming in, it seems like around every corner, Shopify should have one extra player. Seems like a 6v5 in the server. And YFP just never ready for that extra angle.
Glowstick has had the spike the whole time, but has no real chance to get into the A site. They'll walk around and try and find some type of pick, but all roads seem to lead to a walk back into this B site.
Yeah, mad dash into B when the clock gets low, get a spike down.
Or hope
maybe give
that's
yourself...
exactly what SR think, and you hold as they push you?
I don't know, we'll see. Are they going to clear this corner? It's a silly corner to try and clear 2 kills all of a sudden for Glowstick. And now it's 1-on-1. Knows exactly where that last player is. Glowstick has the chance to get the plant down. At the very least, this allows a force into the next round. At the most, it means YFP win this pistol and can start snowballing into the half.
Dodo has a
the duelist on the other
up.
side. And that TP back towards spawn. Glowstick likes their chances on this angle. Sees the... Oh no! Can't secure the shot! The pressure is going to be there. Glowstick has had to jump every single angle in this round. But now when it matters, will not be able to pull the trigger. Donut.
Portal closed.
Steady hands for Shopify to take this pistol.
Such a good try. 2 Glowstick there. Tucks in the corner, gets 2 kills. Even had an opportunity onto Dodo as well. 2 chances, really, that don't quite go their way. And instead, it's SR to just keep this train rolling. The way that SR played this flood into the A site was very nice. Look at the smoke that Mel is throwing down, just into the courtyard there. It's normally where Vipers are throwing down their orb, but she uses it to quickly get 2 players out from mid and into that site, and combined with the Yoru TP into spawn, they almost immediately had a crossfire as YFP was coming out of elbow, and that's what cooked that initial fight.
It was a stronghold, but because of the heroics of Glowstick, Spike going down, the extra money in YFP's pocket, they do have a force. The map really riding on the results of this round for YFP to stay alive here, and it's a little more reserved from Shopify this time around. Playing on the other side of this Viper wall. YFP haven't made too much noise just yet, seeing if Sherrod can activate a lurk into B.
You want to see them be the hero. They remember the 30 kills that couldn't quite win this map last time.
Noya not really offering a fight into the hero on B. Drones traded in mid and A main as YFP do good to break away the deadlock while now try and shift back into Sherrod. Sherrod's gonna know, hear and see the camera on the other end. Now by signaling early on by the rest of YFP being quiet in A main, this has given Sarah the info to move on to B.
Yeah, they never took mid control, so SR will have fast rotates.
Sarah with a stinger in hand. Right up on top of this smoke. A tough angle to clear away, and no one's gonna clear it. Sarah gets 1, gets 2 with noise support on the other end. And now Nora just so low on HP. Shopify Rebellion keep things clean and shut down the force.
And that is surely the opportunity to win map 1 slipping away for YFP. They put everything into this force buy. It doesn't go their way. And now they're gonna hammer their first time out of this half.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing.
I
talked so much about Effie's not calling the timeout in the first half. This is, what, 8 rounds in a row won by Shopify until YFP? Pause it?
Definitely
Seems
could
like
have used
just be
with
a little too late.
Yeah, a change in the game plan the first half. You're hoping you could have gotten at least 1 or 2 more. Give a little padding. But they do not have it. Instead have to look ahead to this round where they're not particularly close to any ultimates. They don't have any money. Shopify is going to hold on to an outlaw for Mel, and all signs seem to point to Shopify going up 11-4.
YFP were locking in a brand new comp in this game, switching things up even just from yesterday, where they got smoked 13-4 on the map. Sure, they're not having great memories of that, but they were able to rally back, pull off the reverse sweep. After you do that in a lower final versus a team of the caliber of Wadada, I think your mental can never be broken ever again. There will always be hope in the YFP camp, but it's hard to have that on a round like this.
No, not quite. But they have proven that they can go the distance, that they have that endurance. It's hard to do it twice in a row, that's for certain. Especially since, I don't think it was an absolutely massive advantage, but Shopify gets to pick where this series goes. It's not a lot bought in, just some sheriffs and a fight in B main.
Yeah, they can't just keep on forcing, or they're never going to have rifles, so... This time running into very early deadlock utility. Wall goes down immediately just to halt the advance if this were to be 5 players in B main.
It seems like every time YFP want to excel a site, Alexis is there, has a wall ready to go. And by the time it gets broken, oh, guess what? Dodo is teleported over. There's 3 players waiting on the site. And then someone is in a funky position that punishes them.
Feels almost like you're forced to open up strong into one of the mains versus the Cypher deadlock composition because you just have to break Sentinel utility early in the round, or it's just so easy for Shopify to bunker down late into the round, and, well, YFP do exactly that, then try to go back into mid, but what are you going to find in mid? Probably Sarah frags.
Yeah, normally on this map, like, your biggest goal as an attacker is to get that control into mid and let your lurkers work up. It becomes all the more hard with double Senti. Sarah's gonna get forward here, a bit risky with the Bulldog.
You can't fool her. As soon as the smoke goes down, threatening the crossover.
30 seconds left.
Sarah pulls out the recon dart, now jumps into the smoke, switches to the classic. It's just all there for Sarah.
Let her ace, maybe?
10 HP. An ace, perhaps, yeah. Looks like Shopify are going to try and give an opportunity over. I mean, honestly, if you're playing optimally, you don't get the ace and you just let Sherrod live with no gun in hand.
Boo! Sarah gets an ace, the iBUYPOWER ace for the Sarah frags. Get out of here. I don't care, they're up 11-1. She can have it.
Okay, yeah. Get your eco ace. Why not? Yeah, great. Don't ask what kind of guns
you have nothing more to
bring
say?
into the fight. Nothing more to
Okay.
say than that.
Actual negative Nancy. She's
Shopify
17
already
to
up
10.
11-4. They don't need any more hype on the eco ace.
Okay, let's give it to YFP
Watching
then. This
here.
is their rifle round. This is truly the last chance. They're going to send it on a B exec, but this is into the deadlock util.
Yeah, and that wall comes out very early from Alexis, as we've seen. Actually, not being pulled just yet. So this May, Alexis didn't use the crouch net either, so
Yeah.
you might even think the Cypher's on the B side of the map.
I think that is what's
going
gonna
to
tell them,
Yet,
'cause-
although, coming straight into Mel's, Oriental clears away that corner nicely. That's going to push Shopify out of mid space.
But that is a win for YFP. They're going to be able to hold on to this space in B main. Now the reclear coming. Scary Shark under pressure.
Nice shot. More players behind it as well. Dodo will eventually get the trade, but look at this. Look at mid. 4 players from YFP. A little hard to finish into the B site without any control over main. And yet that's exactly what YFP are going to try for. Rifle advantage for them. Now the spike. How are you going to plan it for? Without that control over main. The first shot goes Sarah's way. And yet there is another challenger back in main. Dodo could make things very annoying for YFP.
Noya's got a judge. She's basically a non-factor here. It all comes down to Dodo not in main.
And glow stick on the off angle. Tucked away in hot. Dodo with a good clear. Brings it down to 2-on-2.
Enemy remaining.
And the sheriff from Noya rips Corrupt's head straight off. And the judge switching back into it. Shopify Rebellion from an unwinnable position. Steal the round.
Update. She's a factor, running through CT with only a judge and a sheriff. Somehow, she's the one to get 2 and spawn and put a stake in the heart of YFP on this map.
Sure, why not? I guess the combination
Yep.
of a sheriff for the one-tap headshot and the judge for the close range, that's just better than a Vandal.
Uh-huh. Yeah, for sure.
In Noya's hand.
That's definitely the way you expect that to go. Okay.
Wild stuff. And now
And,
that completely extinguishes the light for YFP. They do have the money now maxing out on the loss bonus, but 8 rounds trailing. And that is 10 rounds secured in a row for Shopify.
Yeah. They've got a great ult combo this round. They've got weaponry. They've got the momentum. But they don't have Dodo. An opening pick in mid for Sherrod. A better start than previous rounds.
Not sure if that was full spam or had a little pixel on the curvature of the smoke. Now the smoke going down. No one's looking at Mel. It's a 1-for-1. And Sarah also holding the line, doesn't let off the trigger. Nice shot out of Sherrod to get her on the escape. Brings things down into a 2-on-2. And there's no information over on the A side of the map, just Alexis if he chooses to turn back around.
The only smoke left will be that orb for the cross into A, but a sonic sensor that they'll have to be very quiet past.
But Sherrod and Corrupt have been the heroes for YFP in the main event so far. Corrupt putting up the numbers and calling. Sherrod being so sharp on the shots, but not clearing the corner. Oh no, not again. Alexis just ratting it out. Takes this map 13-4 in mirror form to yesterday's Corrode performance from YFP. It'll be Shopify on the board first.
Last time these teams played this map, it was the 13-11. It was a nail-biter. Here, a completely different story. Shopify lose control early after dropping an eco round, but after that, it was all Shopify all day. They figured out the read on the attack side. They dominated on defense. This was a statement to start this series, but YFP, no stranger to a long BO5. We'll see where we head in map 2 after this.
It's for you. Do you like it? Come on, Charlie. Use your new door. Come on, let's go. I said go. Let's go. Silly dog. I'm gonna trade you for a cat. Red Bull gives you wings.
The new Red Bull Zero is here. 100% wings with monk fruit extract.
Well, if there were any hopes of this first map at least being a banger and getting us really excited and compelled, and maybe YFP are going to do the dang thing, well, Shopify happened. If you are just tuning back in, thank you so much for joining us. Welcome back to VALORANT Game Changers North America. Map 1 was close for about 8 rounds, Wyatt, and then it wasn't.
It was significantly unclose after that, sadly. Yeah, Shopify, they just made some early adjustments. Like, there was a lot of that mid-aggression coming from YFP. They're running a comp with the chamber, so of course on defense, they're going to be pushing. They're going to be trying to fight. And ultimately, then Shopify just start 5-man executing onto sites. They have deadlock, post-plant, util. Then they're on defense with 2 sentinels, and it's a wrap. It's cooked. It's over.
This sort of aggression as well that we saw in the first half is nothing new. I mean, last time that these two teams played each other on this specific map, the 5 first early rounds, you saw this kind of aggression coming in for Shopify. And this time around, you see a YFP that is trying to slow it down, especially with the chamber, trying to push a little bit more, taking more control of those extremities instead of always trying to give that space for the retake. But it just ended up in Shopify Rebellion constantly finding these opening picks and always having the numbers advantage to work with. So it's a map that was really comfortable for them. It's obviously a massive risk for YFP to change their comp, and they also, I feel like throughout the map, took even bigger risks of forcing into that second round, trying to make some plays that I don't know if they have had the time to practice before, because again, the composition that they played yesterday was completely different.
And then, I mean, yeah. Well, I wonder too, as we think about the rest of the series, how many other changes there might be. I respect the attempt at bringing in the Waylay and doing something a little bit different, but ultimately, as you guys can tell by the scorecard right here in this graphic, it fell ultimately flat on its face. I do think, Wyatt, as we think about the rest of the series, is there something that you can kind of hang your hat on as far as hope for YFP?
I mean, Sherrod was playing well, and this is not the map we're looking at for YFP to be lights out, coming in at their absolute peak. This is at the bottom of their pool. Like, we were talking about these first 2 maps on paper looking like the clear, kind of one-sided ones in this series, so I don't think there's any reason to write them off at this point. As we head to the next map, Abyss, on paper heading into this, we're looking at YFP to probably be the favorite here, so alarms will go off if we see them flounder on the next map. But as of right now, I don't think you should be too worried.
There are no alarms going off right now?
Mild alarms. Not full-on alarms. Just, very, very mild. Very taciturn alarms.
This is just not a point of concern if you're on the side of YFP, because they change the comp, they lose both of the pistols as well, and then they're playing into a map that is very comfortable on the side of Shopify Rebellion based on what they did before. So for YFP, what they did in this map is not really a showcase of who they really are and what you're going to be seeing, but the stats for Noya, though, are a good showcase of the kind of player that she is. She is incredible. I feel like every time I just have to talk about her because of how good she is. Not only did she secure them that first pistol round, but also that last round that put them into the match point, that 2v3. She was a big part of why they got the win. She is so clutch, so smart. I think one of the smartest players that we have in VALORANT overall.
And to Dan's point about the comp change, we're seeing YFP on one of their lower tier maps switching their comp just a couple days after running the one with the Clove, going up against Shopify, who on that side swap to defense, you're looking at them every single round changing into a new defensive setup with Noya, with Alexis, that dual sentinel look. Like, it feels like we didn't even get a quarter of the way through their strat book, and YFP just switched stuff up, right? So for me, I don't want to get overly worried, but if Abyss does not go YFP's way, then real danger is looming.
Again, Wadada team is watching at home, so to speak. Obviously very happy with the results that they've seen so far, but this is a marathon. not a sprint. Let's take a look at the maps one more time and see where we will be for the rest of this. Wyatt, you mentioned it well. If Abyss does not go the way of YFP, DEFCON 5, red alert, everything's in trouble. Dan, do you agree?
I do agree, and I feel like it's because of how good this map has been for YFP, but also because this is one of the 2 maps that Shopify Rebellion lost in the main event. One was this map of Lotus in the upper bracket final, and also into that first match against Blue Otter, this map of Abyss, they lost and they were not able to secure a win. So it's not only a good map for YFP, but it's also not the greatest map that Shopify Rebellion has shown us in this main event. Also, I think it's worth saying that Abyss was the map that started the reverse sweep that we saw for YFP yesterday. So if you want to have something going on the side of YFP, this is a good map for it.
Also, just of note, in the game that Shopify did lose to Blue Otter, it was that OT game, the first map they played in the main event. It got to OT, and that required Mel to drop 28 kills in that game to get to OT and not win. So it still required heroics for it to even be that close.
Heroics are a tough thing too in a best of 5 like this, because obviously you don't want to depend on them, but they do have this nasty little habit of coming up and being a part of the equation in ways that you wouldn't necessarily expect. And so we'll see whether or not that plays out, whether or not that even becomes a factor in the conversation, or if Shopify just continue to roll the way we saw them do so dominantly. Yes, in the face of a comp change, and yes, in some of the other stuff that you guys pointed out, that I do think Shopify still played exceptionally well, and they'll still have the opportunity to do so here on Abyss. I think also wanting to follow up on that, are we expecting a comp change on Abyss at all?
Maybe. I feel like they could. Very unlikely. I mean, the map 1, you get it because you can't find any success in Corrode for YFP, so okay, you go for a change because might as well try something new. But in this one, they found some success in Abyss. They are playing a composition with the Tejo as well, so they could change it, but because it's been successful, might as well keep it the same.
Yeah,
if it ain't broke.
Feeling that.
Yeah. I mean, Wyatt, I would ask you your thoughts, but we have agents ready, and so I'm gonna go ahead and spare you of that. We're just gonna take a look and see what's actually there, and then instead of postulating about what might happen, you can tell me what is going to happen.
Yeah, and what is going to happen is that Shopify are still running the same double controller comp. I don't really look at them as a team that love to change things on short notice. They're a team that like to really flesh out the build that they have. The double controller here works nicely. It's great for taking a lot of that deep mid control. And then on the other hand, YFP, they just have this comp that can be absolutely obnoxious in post plants, trying to defuse, and there's a grav well, there are missiles, etc.
Yeah, that is exactly what I was going to mention. The utility for this side of YP is not only going to be good to start them off to maybe create some delay for Shopify Rebellion, but also into the late rounds, both an attack and defense form. The things that they can do with the Astra, with the Tejo as well, with the Sobat, they have a lot to work with, and this is why they wanted to go with this map. So maybe this is the way that they get a 1-1 and they start getting some wins.
It is desperately needed. You don't want to find yourselves down 2 maps, much like they found themselves just a couple of hours, 24 hours ago at this point. But Shopify Rebellion are a different piece. We're going to throw it back to the casters. It's Ender and Mimi on the call.
Yeah, our names haven't changed. Neither have the names of these teams, but the scoreline has. Shopify Rebellion Gold lead by 1. Mimi, why are you looking at me like that?
Just that's a crazy way to pick up. It is true, though, that they do lead by 1 and that we do have the same names. This is the must-win map for YFPX. They cannot lose here. This is a map that they have been good on in the past. It is the map in this pool where Shopify has played it the least. It is another Charade Chamber map where they tend to go crazy. If there's going to be a bounce back, I think you have to sell that it starts here for YFP.
I mean, it makes sense. This has been a good map for YFP. This is YFP that's not changing comp on this map either, as much as, map 1, that was a big change, as much as the discourse was surrounding that. But we'll see what YFP have ready for us. We remember back to the opening of Corrode, and it was also very similar. A lot of players stuck over in A main, looking to dominate the space early, but Mimi, Shopify Rebellion have other plans in mind.
I think that the Shopify read of group and take space together and then go into team hits instead of fighting up on extremities into the chamber, that worked map 1 can work here too. But Sarah, she goes and fights the chamber, doesn't go her way.
Yeah, that's the different story this time around, but Shopify have already made their way up into heaven. Some opportunities to peer down on YFP and equalize, but doesn't seem like we're getting any of that equality here. Shopify Rebellion back behind enemy lines, but none of the shots are going their way. This is a YFP dominating on Abyss, but somehow there's been a chance for some kills to go their way. Noya now on the hunt, charging forward into Glowstick, but YFP take the much-needed pistol.
They try a tricky pistol round there for Shopify, fighting up through mid to 4-1 back into this A site. But YFP navigated very well there, getting the kill into A main, realizing that there's a threat in their mid. They play together very well to re-clear all of this space, to be ready for the wrap through CT, and that's exactly the round you need. But I do recall them winning or losing out on a pistol, winning eco after that. This is their chance for that not to happen the other way. They need to win this one cleanly and get some momentum on their defense.
Now Shopify, they didn't actually get the spike down, so it's not your typical Abyss. You'll see a lot of teams that lose, go ahead and find some marshals, some sheriffs. No, this is a full-on save for Shopify. They're just wanting to speed things along and end up getting into the rifle rounds as soon as possible. As rightfully, they should feel confident on these, just charging forward. Noya has gotten a kill and might get another. Oh my word, Sherrod needs to go back to the classic to hit the shot. Now the rest of Shopify are marching on forward. Sherrod needs to get back in range of the teleport and will manage that. Now with Noya on the support as Nora, rather, on support as well. This round is not nearly as clean as YFP would have wanted. It's a disaster. It's a mess. The shots are eventually coming in, but what is really going on? I don't know. No one knows. There's 2 players alive from YFP. There's a Spectre recovered from Dodo. There's a Spike recovered from Dodo. And there's an open A site.
Does she win the foot race, though? There's going to be a fight in mid in time for Glowstick.
Oh, I love this. I like this. Getting up close range. Now, unfortunately, Glowstick is just hard holding it. 30 seconds left, and Glowstick is prepared. Glowstick was fairly confident they had the timing there to guard the cross.
A clean anti-eco. It's so fine. I wasn't worried. You weren't worried, right?
No, never even for a moment.
No, yeah. Sherrod had that on lock.
There wasn't like Alexis running up into smokes. No. It's all fine. And because it's all fine, obviously YFP have no guns they can bring over into the next round, so...
But that's what they want. It's okay. It's okay.
Right.
Shopify rifle round. They're grouping and taking A main together.
Standing ahead.
Little double bounce dart. Guard off against the advancement into A main. YFP have really loved stepping into space. This time, a little refight off of the Oru flash. Nothing to be found just yet, and now that they've shown their position, YFP have to fall back.
Shopify still have a good hit here. Paranoid on the execute.
Interesting star, deep on backside. Little stun idea as Dodo comes out on the left side. Teleport forward as well. Shopify Rebellion will be so mobile on these A hits, and you'll always have to keep watching Mel with these teleports towards default. That smoke gets refreshed up into heaven. Another benefit of the double orb smokes from Shopify is you can always keep heaven smoked off. You can even smoke up on default for Mel to TP into.
And not just that, it lets Mel be a psycho if she wants to. She can always be double diving in because her dying is much less risk to the team. You always have Noya as a fallback. So almost acts as that
even
second entry.
That's just a one-way on the right side of site that stops YFP from threatening advancing around that side of default.
Yeah.
Sherrod's going to try it anyways as the smoke falls, and we'll manage that first kill. I'm not exactly in YFP's favor, even if they are able to get some pressure down onto the spike. You see the post-plant utility from main, the Sova and the Astra is just unbreakable.
This is what I was getting at round one, though, that I think these teams are going to have very similar ideas of how they want to play to map one, where YFP's whole thing is going to be testing into extremities, getting Sherrod in forward angles, and trying to get these early picks, like pressuring the Shopify lurkers off the line. And for Shopify, I wonder if it's going to be the same solution they found map one, of instead just grouping every time they take these extremities and not taking any risk of putting their lurkers in positions where they're going to die to an off walking up.
Yeah, ironically, Abyss is a map where you can just literally do that. If you wanted to exec B site 5 players 12 rounds in a row, you might win 8 of them on average.
But when you group up, you do leave some space, and Sherrod has been on a lovely walk since the start of this round and embeds so deep.
all the way down through mid. Now seeing and realizing there's no one in front B, so YFP very well aware that the advance is coming towards A. Early paranoia, now the double teleports right on top of each other. Corrupt just gets flattened, jumping out from heaven, and the shots continue to rain down, forcing Zoriental to take the teleport out and away. YFP have already lost 2 players on site, and it's just kind of disjointed one by one from YFP. The only kill, a bit of an overheat from Dodo, marching back towards spawn. YFP will be forced to save.
What's tough about this map is, on your defense, it is really a test of how structured you can be, I think, on your retakes. Compared to other maps, because rotates are so long, I think it is a lot harder to actually try and play Flood retake, because most of the time it's going to take like eons for your other players to get over. So you see a lot of teams, think if you're watching Champs, a team like Fnatic, that plays a ton of set retake on Abyss. And for YFP, they're just not that team. They are very aggressive. They like taking their fights. They are almost always going to try and take that timing and flood in. And I think a lot of what this game is going to come down to is if they can actually find their opportunities going for these crazy floods into sight, or if they're forced to change their style as the half progresses.
Do you think that YFP can just play more? I mean, obviously they got kind of just owned on the gunfights in the last round, but they've got Chamber and Yoru. You've got double teleports that allows you to play a lot of off angles where you can dodge utility. Are there ways for them to continue finding these forward fights into mains?
I mean, I think they have to keep trying, kind of no matter what. Like, you always want to keep that pressure up. You're going to see it here. It's another just A brawl.
Usually it's been a dart from Sarah, this time not popping it because you've got the human drone Dodo Nut and a monster paranoia behind it. Forces all these players back. You can talk all you want about off angles and playing for main, but sometimes the utility can just beat it, and sometimes Sherrod can just beat you. 3 kills, line them up, Sherrod dominating in round 5 with a hero rifle in hand. Sherrod has found something here to even the score. Possibly on eyes for the ace. 8 HP remaining, will eventually fall down. Surely Sherrod's done enough for their team, but maybe not again when you look at the health, when you look at 2 pistols on the 3 players remaining. The advantage for YFP being the spike left alone.
Spotted her out. A reposition. Great crossfires here on the site.
I like crossing there with the drone. Now with that
Concussing him.
full crossfire, no real hope and no expectation from Noya either that a player could even be in that spot.
And there's the Sherrod effect that you're looking for. Really struggled to find that impact on map 1. Got completely pathed away from when we were playing on Corrode, but now here gets that impact, holds strong on site, so precise with the aim. When I've been watching Sherrod play, I've just been really impressed with how calm they are when they're aiming. They're a player that is very good at just like tapping, finding the instant flick, never over flicking. It is really clean stuff. They're truly a mechanically gifted player and has done so much to bring this YFP team up to the level that they found now in stage 2.
Oh yeah, and it's situations like that last round where you see that calm effect in full force. A player that isn't able to stabilize so quickly, switch player to player, only gets 2 kills there. Certainly not 4. As now Steel Garden puts a whole lot of pressure onto A. YFP not done just yet, although with the teleport away, Glowstick was left islanded for a moment. YFP are going to have to play full-on 5v5 retake.
Yeah, it's going to be a good retake, though, for YFP. 2 players already posted in heaven, putting a lot of pressure on Mal, but she'll be able to get the spike down.
The fight back into spawn goes Dodo Nut's way. And now with an opportunity to look for more. Pull back onto the star and headshot through the wall. Dodo Nut has arrived into the round. 2 already, and now a teleport back into main with heavy numbers as well. YFP need to deal with these players in main before dealing with the spike. There's just too much utility. And too much of a disadvantage. The smoke falls. Dodo onto a 3rd. And they just continue to show up for Shopify. We're tied up at 3.
I mean, you call that the off-leash post-plant. The rest of Shopify is running from the site. Dodo is permitted to do exactly as she pleases. And YFP tried to play more of a set retake, but it does not work out there. It is all Dodo.
Yeah, well, first off, it looked like they didn't want to play the set retake. It was the utility that forced them going back. They wanted to try and flood in and had to respond, but, I mean, they're going to call a timeout now. And Mimi, Obviously Dodo not there is finding those fights back into spawn, but we saw that a few rounds ago as well. Dodo playing very far forward in the late rounds, getting let off the leash like you're saying. YFP need to keep this in mind.
They do. How do they change up now? They've continued to try to win this fight into A main, but Shopify has had really good util patterns to counter that one out. They're either holding back a bit, waiting for the Teo missiles to come and then refighting off of that, or they're just full sending Dodo and getting ahead of that. I did like what we were seeing in some of the earlier rounds where you saw Sherrod fighting into mid and kind of walking up that space early. If SR keep going for these A post plants, I think considering getting a flank, some kind of pressure against a team that loves playing this heavy offsite post could be effective. But the question still always comes back to how can you actually get value out of this chamber? How can you find Sherrod that early opportunity? Because they have been a little more fleeting this map, even if they had that excellent 4K anchoring on A.
It seems like the real challenge for YFP is figuring out how to actually bunker on A. It's not every day necessarily you play against the double smokes with the Omen in there, but the fact that Mel and Dodo can both teleport up into default makes it so hard to play on the close choke point, right? Because there's players instantly behind you and protected. You can't really play backside either because Mel's going to be on top of default with a Sova dart hitting backside as well that she can find spam off of too. So YFP are really being pressured to come up with answers on A, although out of the timeout, Shopify are playing a full spread default for the first time since, I don't know, round 5 on Corrode.
I do like that they're putting the Yoru to try and anchor on A this round. As Shopify, they're going to try and sell a fake for the first time this game, put some pressure on B. That'll pull 4 players over. Only Zoriental to hold.
And we'll have to fall back, so again, YFP without positions on the A site. Have to play for the retake, but this time, a dimensional drift is available. Gives them so many more opportunities, even there, Mel using the ult to clear back into spawn. YFP have 4 players.
Cover going out.
YFP back onto this site. No, we'll be able to get the plant down. This is the real test of their set retake.
Dimensional drift! Get under. It's even in 4. Not a factor. Utility is going to be left back on the corner to work in. Why? But yet to put the pressure down. That first shot goes Mel's way. Alexis gets another. Shopify Rebellion continue to find their mark, and they are just going to give up on playing the round, it seems. Sherrod tried to go back in for a little bit more, but Shopify sees the reins.
And you know what, Robot Christie, I think that was a really great point that you were making there throughout that round. Are you back now?
I don't know, am I back?
Yeah, you're back for me. I don't know if the dear viewers heard you as a wonderful robot, but yeah, it would have been fun if they did. Anyways, a big round there for Shopify Rebellion. They're continuing to show just how good they are at holding down onto these A post plants. YFP will try again to go for the A fight, but as soon as that happens, Shopify are reading that there's something up in mid, and they're going to start 4 players there instead on the Santa-Ica.
Hopefully I'm not a robot.
No, you're normal.
We can all hope for these types of things is, well, Sherrod can't find that shot either. Shopify have really stepped into this mid space, Mimi.
They have. Tons of space. So what is the reaction now for YFP? They want to try and work back into re-clear here, but only 2 players. They're going to be facing into 3 top mid.
Quick thinking in the mid rounds, and it's Dodo that gets the jump, doesn't get the kill. And Zoriental from the corner. Having a second player there is certainly unexpected, but these Sheriffs just can't stand up in a battle of attrition. A main now flushed out by Alexis. It's just Zoriental, who has now used this cascading line of smokes to sneak up into A main. Alexis still expecting and drop down. Zoriental not able to do too much more than that. This anti-eco, an interesting one from Shopify Rebellion. They see it through a 3 alive.
That's what makes SR so good. As soon as they find that key, they realize that their opponent is going to try and find some kind of adaptation. They throw that extra bit in. Mid has been not super heavily held since YFP have started trying to bunker more on these A sites, and they expose that vulnerability on the anti-eco. So now if you're YFP, you're thinking, we have to deal with this threat towards mid. Now we also are still trying to find a solution of how to actually hold on our A sites. And as soon as that happens, you see an SR that's ready to go towards B to start this round instead.
And remember, 2 rounds ago, it was the B fake. So now after mid pressure, they're going to show similar utility you'd expect over onto this side, except this time, there's going to be a big force behind it. Now, YFP have stepped Sherrod up in A main, so they realize that this is actually going to be fully real. Nora, not a chance to get up in front of the wall, but you can see up in heaven, Corrupt going onto the opposite side of the Astral Wall just to hear and get confirmed info that the spike will be planted.
Still, it has to be retake. This Yoru Sovalt combo is the win condition.
A fight forward, though, through this wall. Dodonut has come over to the opposite side and now up in heaven on opposite ends, and now a chance. Corrupt sees Dodo's back, takes her down. Gives time for Glowstick to fire away, but Alexis has gotten 2 already. It's pandemonium on side as Alexis continues to farm. 3 kills for her. And YFP with nowhere to go. No one even out onto the site. Sure, that Cosmic Divide is down. Gives them something to work around, but Mel is still up inside of the smoke. And Mel continues on in for 2 more to close out the round.
It's so tough for YFP. If you try and anchor on these sites, the executes are too strong. Mel and Dodo are going to be diving in. There'll be a dart and a flash overwhelming you. You try and play set retake, even in a round. We have so many ultimates. That was the Astro Wall, the Yoru ult, the Sova ult, all used in the attempt for a retake from YFP. But it's all for naught because, again, the second Mel and Dodo get in these sites, they are fighting into backside, they are playing up, and they are ready to intercept the YFP players before they're even ready to duel.
It's always these layers of fights into backside, and then still having resources to play the post plant back from main. And YFP have never been able to find a consistent answer into it. All they've done is continue to try and work Sherrod up into A main. Play on the edge of this teleport. Let's have Nora playing behind them, but a flash will push them off. We'll see what Nora can do. Judge in hand. Gets up into the smoke and catches Dodo with util in hand. This will be a good look for YFP as at the same time there's mid control belonging to Zoriental, and Zoriental's gonna hear these footsteps. Gonna hear all the players vacating the premises.
They're
when do
walking
they strike?
Zoriental. Now here's that step.
Yep.
Reload as well. Has a one-on-one.
By all accounts, Oriental should have this. Should have full awareness of the situation and eventually gears up and gets that kill. Already YFP are on the move. 2 players back in spawn, worried about alerts. They're not coming out into the site just yet.
Yeah, Alexis is going to double back, hold that space on mid. Has the Vice ult to invest if she wants, but Shopify feel that they need a kill before they can commit to anything.
Yeah,
that opportunity not yet presenting.
The Visal going to be a post-plant opportunity for Shopify, if anything. First mission, get the spike down. Second, look forward for a pick. Alexis was a demon in this exact spot just a moment ago. Looking for it once again, now without the assistance of her IGL. Noya might not belong to this world either. Alexis drops instantly. YFP seeing a nice round here. With an early kill in A main, react to the rotates and shut Shopify Rebellion down.
And that's just the difference maker. Actually getting value out of their fight in towards main. They've never been able to get success in that area since the very earliest rounds of this half. Here, it's Shopify who play a little slower. You see Sherrod walking in and managing to not get the kill themselves, but instead, just play close. Don't even play that deep. Huck into the smoke with the judge. That's the difference maker this round. And the retake up numbers finally going YFP's way. But to me, that still doesn't sell a consistent tale.
Sure.
Because I think playing close in that smoke is hard against this double TP still. And Shopify's going to know that as they, again, start forward towards A main.
And yet, a weakness of this Shopify comp, everyone has util in hand when they're advancing and looking to exec into a site because your duelist has to be also flashing for the team. So there are opportunities to step back into smokes, to step back into space. I think Nora, with another judge, is thinking about that. Sherrod also. Gonna keep that in mind.
I like that they're both playing close up together. TP
Well,
back for Sherrod now.
Had to teleport away. I think was caught out by a flash, and now that Vi's ultimate shuts off the weaponry. Scouted out as well. Mel with the same ult pattern into backside. Means that Shopify have full control over the site. It'll be a retake look once again.
This time, though, the Armageddon.
And a flank too. Zoriental sets up a clone to break the wall before looking back into mid. YFP drone out heaven. No, there's no forward aggression in that space just yet, but they're taking their time. That clone has brought a few players back into A main, and it's now YFP's chance to strike into the round. Sherrod with the first. And now the Armageddon laying waste into A main forces Mel up out into the open. No one's there to help her out. And already onto the spike from YFP. The first spike goes Dodo's way. Shock darts to follow. The low HP gives Zoriental a chance to move in and get that kill. Now Noya up in heaven. Looking for a dink down into the rest of YFP, and Noya does it again! A hero for Shopify!
Despicable from Noya. The one to win the clutch on map 1 to set the tone for this series, and the one to do it again here. What a Red Bull clutch for her. That round looked like it was slipping away. Finally, a retake working out for YFP. The ultimate so good to flush these players from main. But Dodo gets that kill on 1 HP. That buys just enough time for Noya's pull to come in, for her to complete her flank. And the mechanics are just beautiful to win the round.
So for the last round of the half, force up for YFP and Shopify, gearing up for B exec. YFP all the way up in A main once again. Realize they guessed wrong. And here it comes for Shopify Rebellion. Early smokes going down. And YFP have a chance to slip back into the site. The double initiators were dominant in yesterday's reverse sweep. Glowstick and Corrupt already here playing around the orbs, but Glowstick goes down. Just caught out on the other side.
Planted.
Oh, 3 players moving on the flank too. YFP, I think they were hurt out. Alexis' position in mid reveals exactly what YFP are trying. That first kill will be found onto Noya, but I mean, a crossfire like this? How on earth do YFP get back in? Zoriental inching forward, but Alexis is in exactly the right position. It doesn't matter. With numbers advantage for Shopify Rebellion, an extra position every single time. Sarah is just a rat, and with 1 HP, wins out this round.
Holds it down. This entire half, this entire series has been a matter of YFP finding some early successes and then getting out-called for the remainder of Shopify's attack side. Shopify conditioned this fight towards A. They set up fake looks on B, then actually go for the B exec. The second that YFP then change it up, try and go back to their A fight, guess what? SR execing in, ready for the flank. They have been 1 step ahead this entire time. And if we're really continuing the script from map 1, then SRG would be the ones to win this pistol. But if YFP want a chance to win their best map on the stronger side, this is it. They need this pistol round, and they need it now.
And you can ask individual players to step up and have a hero round. You can ask Corrupt to try and match Mel on the calling. But when Shopify just have everything firing on all cylinders, you need a little bit of everything if you're actually going to challenge them consistently. B seems to be the entrance, but look at that again. Okay. Shopify, they're also just winning on the luck game too. It's shots through smokes the last 2 rounds to find the first kill.
And this composition is suffocating. This B smoke will be refreshed eternally.
Well, good utility from Corrupt, but what does it really matter if Shopify can just swing onto the line and get the kills anyways? Oh, man.
Right as the smoke bloomed, man. Come on, Dodo. Give him a break.
Just having a little bit too much fun. Every shot seemingly a headshot. Although now, even body shots would work too. 50 HP on Glow and Zoriental.
And Alexis is on a flank already. Feels like a checkmate.
Last player standing.
Well, Zoriental gets 1, but there you have it. The flank activates, and Shopify take a pistol.
Oh my. That is a tough one. That was your opportunity to get back in. That was your chance you felt to reset the tide on this map, but nope. Dodo steals it away.
The irony is, Mimi, I was just about to go into this idea that, like, Mel has just been calling a beautiful series, like, following up on the idea that, like, the structuring of the attack half, I think, had all the right answers. There's a reason why Mel has
the same theory on both.
Exactly, exactly. There's a reason why Mel has just won everything in NA Game Changers for the last, what, 5 years? Absolutely mental.
Has it been that long? 5 years?
Has.
Wow.
I mean, Mel and Alexis never leaving each other throughout their tenure. New players come and go,
still
but
hitting shots like that.
yep, keep them coming. 3 kills Running out of bullets is the only reason she doesn't have an ace. But it's still Shopify only losing their IGL to go up double digits.
I cannot think of any other player or players in Valorant that have been a constant in their scene, in their region, the way Mel and Alexis have. You look at the top teams in North America, out of Brazil, out of really anywhere in the world. And there are very few players that have had a core for this long, that have been successful for this long. And that's what Mel and Alexis bring. Literally 5 years on with 3 different players around them from when they started. Still winning trophies, still having an opportunity to win another today.
I mean, Mimi, Mel and Alexis have been together as long as Austin has been with 100 Thieves. You know, it just never ends. Right?
Literally longer.
Crazy work. And yet...
Well, this is an opportunity for YFP. It feels like everyone has been ripped away from them already, but let's give them their moment. See what they can do. Rifles are up. They've worked the chamber into mid, and 3 players will walk towards that.
Right now, just a one-way, interrupting YFP from moving any further forward. Still expecting if there was going to be a walk down mid or B main, but Shopify Rebellion are playing very reserved right now. I believe it's a high-low look over on the A site with our 2 smoke agents. And you can just permanently recycle this one way, so eventually YFP are going to need to use the clone, maybe use a flash, use a pullback star, something to break the one way, which they have managed to do. Now some shots. Dinking Alexis, or Mel rather, in backside. And I'm getting them confused.
But Sarah has rotated on in, and so YFP will take their moment.
Wait, whoa, Mimi, we're down to 30 seconds. We're on to 30 seconds. We were calm, we were fine, but where are they going with the spike? Our spike is droning mid with 25 seconds left. You have to go back A. There's 3 players here. Guys, this is an anti-bonus. It's 20 seconds. We're burning the candle down at both ends. YFP finally bring the utility into the fore, but no one's looking at Noya. That's 2 kills already, and wipe it out. It's over.
Oh, it's done.
There's nothing you can do. Maybe corrupt, but no. The spike down out in the open, Nora with no chance to play the round.
Christy, I'm thinking of a certain fruit. A certain one.
Oh, cantaloupe?
It's close. Close. It's really coming to mind right now.
Melon? A melon, perhaps?
I think that's exactly what's coming to mind, because, oh my god, they just wait for everything. This is Shopify Rebellion. They're not going to give you those opportunities. They're not going to walk into you. Oh no, that was the chance. Those were the guns. And literally, Chrissy, it's the exact same script as map 1. A close first couple round, then Mel gets the read. She rolls through the attack side. Defense, they convert a bonus. This could be another 13-4.
Certainly looking that way. YFP forcing up into nothing, but it's Stingers and Buckies on Abyss. Good luck. I don't know what you're supposed to do with that. Mel taken low, pinged out by the dart, but once again getting right back into the same position as the last round again. No one's clearing your spot. What is happening? Noya has 3, Noya has 4. It is decimation over the A spike site, and an ace for Noya. The second of the series for Shopify. It is lights out.
And this iBUYPOWER ace comes at a more impactful moment than the last. Sure, it was a half buy, but it was a force. It was YFP putting so much into trying to win this round. And it's Noya sitting at 18-6 right now on the Astra to rip any last tiny sliver of hope away.
This smoke Noya's been putting on the A site, that deeper one. Something that YFP seemingly have no answer into. Gives that extra pocket to play behind. So much more versatility in it. Shopify's Abyss looking strong so far. And so again, YFP buy down to nothing. This time the weaponry looking a little bit stronger. And this time trying to get some presence into mid early in the round. Mel on the other side of the bookcase, waiting for it, expecting it, seeing it. And now Nora and Zoriental are out of the round. That was again a dimensional drift that YFP won't be able to use. And now Noya on the off angle here, ready for the jump up, but Strahd is too. And yet as more and more challengers step into the fore, it'll be back-to-back 13-4s for Shopify.
Is it scripted? Because I feel like I just watched the same map twice in a row, Christy.
Yeah.
Literally. Down to everything, down to the slightly close first half, into the Mel getting the read, into the literally flawless second half. We're living in a time loop.
And it's quite literally Mel's script as well. The calling round to round on the attack side. Perfection from Shopify's in-game leader. So good.
And the thing is that loop, if it is a time loop we live in, always ends in Shopify Rebellion lifting a trophy, winning in Game Changers. It was a reverse sweep yesterday in the lower final for YFP, but this is going to be a hell of a lot harder if they want to do it again.
Got the new iPhone 17 Pro and Verizon picked up the tab.
No way.
That's me. Handsome and hilarious. It's a rare combo.
New and existing customers can get the new iPhone 17 Pro on us on the best 5G network.
I mean, where else would I get it, right?
Red Bull gives you wings.
Welcome back to Valorant Game Changers North America presented by Verizon. I'm a bit stun-locked at what we just saw and honestly what I just heard after how that map played out because it was just another stomp. Dan, surely you have plenty of thoughts on that.
I mean, we talked about Abyss. We say guys up saying, you know, it has been looking good for YFP. Maybe they should be getting the win here. They are the favorites into that map, and it was just not the case at all. Once again, not only Shopify Rebellion wins both of the pistols, but also they are able to take control very early into these rounds of how they wanted to play on the attack side. So you see a lot of early presence towards A side, then they slow things down, they try to bait a little bit with some utility, and they end up winning a little bit later in the round. There's a very clear understanding of how they wanted to play this, and it really gives them that success. Even if YFP were trying to adapt on the defense, pushing forward, having Chariot kind of be the first person in, it just nothing was really working out.
Both last map and this one, Shopify really are finding a lot of success with just these big 5-man hit a site executes with really tight utility timings here, having both of those controllers cycling the smokes and post plants, and then when in those post plants, even if things get tight individually, players are making plays. This from Noya was pretty crazy. She gets the clutch. Like, they are just so on point right now.
Why? How do you? Okay, if you're YFP, you're down 0-2, pretty bad. You needed to win Abyss, and you didn't in a pretty convincing fashion too. How do you make sure you don't lose yourself in what just happened over the next two maps and kind of reset into the next round?
Is this where we go with the narrative of they did this yesterday, Doug? Are we allowed to bring out this narrative right now in this moment, or do we have to shelf it for the end of this segment? Because they were in this position yesterday. It's too late. They were in this position yesterday. They were down 0-2. They came back and they won 3-2. They proved they can do it. They can do it again, right, Dan?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, honestly, okay.
Dan,
tell me
Doug,
YFP is not telling each other that right now. I mean, it's hard to do. We talked about it, so you need to reset, act like nothing happened, acting like it's the best of 5 just started, and try to get some wins. But this one was just very one-sided for Shopify Rebellion. I think if YFP is able to win a pistol, get something going early on, they have a good opportunity of bringing this back, at least getting this third map go their way. They don't want to lose this 3-0. Again, for YFP, they need to get this. They cannot make it to LCQ or to champs through points. They have to be the number one.
Sorry, so you're telling me they can, if they just tell themselves that they can do it, then that'll be enough to stop this Shopify and the form they're in right now?
I have two things. So one is that, and then the other one is, hey, we're going into Ascent, and Shopify Rebellion, they are really good on attack, but on defense they have been struggling a lot. So if you can get a few rounds in attack, or sorry, on defense, maybe 3, you could win. You could win it all.
The first 2 bricks of the foundation have been laid, now only to build the home around it. I feel like, honestly, as well, in these 2 maps, we're seeing a visual display of one of the major differences in these 2 teams, which is Shopify being so well-drilled versus a YFP who self-admittedly are kind of puggy and have to send it with corrupt schedule, etc. Like, I think one of the rounds, round 9, is a great example of this, where you're seeing the Shopify team able to consistently play around their ultimates so well. It's nothing, completely out of the ordinary, getting up the wall for the safe plant, using that dimensional drift to get all the information, but it's the fact that Shopify are consistently able to cycle their ultimates for round wins, get the orbs consistently. That's what's been really impactful. They get those free rounds like that, like, very often.
They also
Yeah,
do this consistently when it comes to the ultimates. You see them in the early rounds for a lot of these maps and a lot of these halves, conditioning the enemy team into either a faster style with the 5-man hits that we've been seeing, or something a little bit slower. But after they get those ultimates going, they completely change the pace, and they're able to rotate around these ultimates because of that. They get those rounds surprising the enemy team, and this time around surprising YFP.
I think if there is maybe a surprise that's lying in wait on the side of YFP, maybe it's Sherrod. I mean, we talked about them at the beginning of at the top of the show, and how insane they were, and you know, they're putting up numbers. But Dan, at this point, do you look at Sherrod and go, hey, we need more out of you? Or are you looking at the rest of the team and asking them to step up? What's the approach here?
It's a little bit of everything, but Sherrod stepping up is an absolute necessity if they want to not only win the map of Ascent, but push us to that map number 5. It's what made that last series between these two teams so close. It was that Sherrod was constantly not only finding the openings, but also having so much impact every single round. And even though we've seen it a little bit here and there in this first 2 maps, it's not the same way that we saw it in that last match. So yeah, it is on Sherrod a little bit, but you know, you can't only put that pressure in one player. It's everybody else putting that effort going into Ascent. Like I mentioned, if your confidence in your defense and your confidence in being able to secure a few rounds, understanding what the composition of Shopify Rebellion is able to do, you can take it round by round and see what happens.
And that's really the only approach right now, isn't it? It's just, let's take it around at a time and kind of see if we're able to put something together. Wyatt, when you think about comebacks, much like the one they pulled off yesterday, and unfortunately they find themselves in the same position today, it kind of has to go that way on Ascent, no?
It was Shopify who were almost victims of a ridiculous comeback when they played Ascent in the first round of this main event against Blue Water. They were up 11-1 and almost lost that game, which is absolutely ridiculous. This should be a map where YFP can get an edge somewhere to come back in on this. And, you know, after that, though, to SRG's credit, they did destroy 100 Thieves on it in the next game. That was with Alexis getting 21 kills and 7 deaths on Attack Sage. So it's not like they don't know how to play this map. It's just volatile. And that has to be the aspect of it, the volatility that gives YFP an opening.
There's a few maps where you know some of the players are gonna pop off and they're gonna have incredible moments, and I feel like for this map of Ascent, Alexis is usually the star for Shopify Rebellion. Again, that first time that they played against Blue Otter, it was an 11-1 half, going on the Tekken side, looking good, almost losing it. They ended up winning 13-11, and then last time as well that they played against 100 Thieves, it was a 13-2, once again starting on the attack side. I'm a little bit surprised that YFP is not trying to maybe go on attack first, just because you know how strong the side of Shopify Rebellion is, but also we know how defensive sided this can be, especially if they're able to push their own game plan. Show us what they got in this map, because last times we've seen some great things from them, even though it's not the map that you think of when you think about YFP.
Well, you were talking earlier about how the styles clash in such a notable way, and even YFP were the ones who mentioned that they tend to lean towards Puggy a little bit, and you put that up against the sound foundational gameplay of Shopify. That's not something you can really fix on the fly here if you're YFP. You can't just all of a sudden become significantly more tactical in how you want to approach the game mid-series. So if you were YFP and you needed to find a way to get around the disciplined strategic approach that Shopify bring to every round, how do you do it?
Honestly, I don't think Ascent is a bad map to be able to do that on. They don't run a particularly odd comp, and it's all default, except for, I mean, Yoru's basically default anyway. It's just when you think of default Ascent, it's like the Jet KO, whatever. But that is a comp and a map that is just ironed out to the maximum. That I do think there should be a level of some inherent cohesion just from everyone's understanding of how that map is played, because it's so standard at this point.
We do have agents ready, and we'll take a look and see what both teams are bringing into the fold here, and maybe there is a change that can be made to kind of stir the boat, rock the pot. I think I got that backwards. Yeah, I got that a little backwards, but no, things looking pretty standard, pretty vanilla right now, Dan.
both of the teams keeping that same composition. Like what I was saying, the side of YFP has been playing this standard composition for quite some time, and for the side of Shopify Rebellion, this double sentinel with the Sage and the Cypher is something that they've been adding as of recent. They played in a few matches, and it looks incredible on the attack side. They have been able to secure this Game Changers at least 10 rounds on the attack side. So for YFP, that is what I'm talking about. How strong is your defense? How confident are you in these standard picks, this standard composition, to secure some early rounds? Even a pistol round can be a difference maker.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, Wyatt, they didn't win a single pistol on Abyss. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct. That would be a great place to start things off. Yeah. And as Dan was saying, it's this attack side that has been lethal for Shopify Rebellion. If YFP can even get 4 rounds, 5 rounds, that could be enough given what we've seen from SR in the past here.
YFP find themselves backs against the ropes, not just in the series, but in the rest of their year. Can they pull it off? Back to Mimi and Ender on the call.
Well, Doug, yesterday, Ascent was the playing field where YFP saw the closeout of their reverse sweep. Now, it'll be the place they will have to begin it if they want their year to stay alive. They must win 3 maps in a row to keep their lives alive this year, Mimi.
And that is such a tough task. 13-4 losses on the first 2. Shopify en route to what could be a 3-0 final to a qualification into Seoul. For YFP, though, this is a map that has been solid for them throughout this one. It's one that they're comfortable on, but for Shopify, I love what they've been bringing with this Sage composition into the mix. I think it adds an extra twist, especially since those recent Sage buffs that makes it so much easier to get that wall down deeper while you're still in a smoke executing into sites. It makes it really tough to support your site anchors and flood in the way that you normally would when you're playing Ascent.
It adds these extra things that YFP have to be worried about, these concerns they're going to have, and, well, there are many of those at this point, whether it's Mel's calling round to round, the way she's been structuring her attack sides in particular today, or just even the problems inside of the round. But we've got a beautiful technical pause to start this one off. If you are ready for map number 3, no, you're not ready. And we're gonna let this one simmer for just a minute. We're gonna let it percolate, and the stakes can rise up, because this one it could be the end, honestly, with the way that Shopify have just been playing lights out back-to-back 13-4 performances.
It absolutely could be, and for the side of YFP, it is a lot of pressure on them. But what is interesting is back at home, watching right now, there's pressure on someone else too. Wadada, of course, their qualification to the LCQ is riding on this game as well. They lost that lower final in the reverse sweep, and now they're preying on YFP's downfall. If Shopify close this one out, and it means Wadada get to go to that LCQ, fly down to Brazil, have that opportunity to face off against the best, or at least the second best team from Brazil and Latin America for America's last slot. But here we go. Everyone's into the server, and what matters now is YFP, their chance to stay alive here on Ascent.
All right, well, Shopify Rebellion, extra wrinkles, extra layers here with the Sage. You already brought that up, how YFP will have to deal with that. Looking to start this pistol round. A little bit of space gathered up into mid. You expect to see Noya play a lot of B main early on, putting down forward tripwires. Early space to be controlled, but a mid-2 smoke for Shopify to start things off. Now stepping into the space.
Walking up early, these Sage comps are very good for splits, can throw the wall or a slowdown to cut rotations, and then very quickly pounce on these anchors. There's going to be a lot of pressure on Glowstick, stuck in market.
Oh yeah, nowhere really to go. Except now they step on backwards at exactly the right moment. It would have been deadly had they stayed forward, but now it is Shopify on the trot forward. Smoke goes back down towards spawn, and it's really just Sherrod left isolated back on site. 3 players to try and filter out and help through this smoke, but the Sage slows make it so hard. Now the kills start to come in from YFP. Good flashes, good utility, and the shots are also finding their way. YFP have the pistol.
I'm shocked YFP make that work. Finally, a pistol round 1 for them. because you're seeing how strong the Sage is to slow down the rotates. YFP had 3 players sitting in spawn in that smoke, desperately wanting to flood in and help Sherrod, who was stuck on the site. But despite that, despite like the 10 seconds of stall, Sherrod stays alive just long enough that it means that Shopify is still stuck in transition as those slows actually come down, and YFP can very successfully fight out of the smokes together.
And you know, maybe Mel's trying to disrupt things a little bit, call for a pistol round where it's about taking some mid control, a little bit different than we've seen the early conditioning be on the last few maps. This time it doesn't go exactly according to plan as YFP rotate over and anticipate the hit. This time actually,
but the
guys on Corrupt bot mid.
Yeah, it's going to be very different though from the first 2 maps, both on Corrode and Abyss. It's maps where you see the chamber for YFP, where a lot of their win conditions is going to be these extremity fights and getting forward space there with the chamber. Here it's a lot more bog standard. They'll still fight for the edges of the map sometimes, but it's a much more standard, much more normal Valorant that both these teams are going to be quite comfortable with.
Camera shock dart combo into the tripwire too. That was a nice little 3-step plan from YFP.
Yeah, a cute little one there to get it going. SR are going to lick their wounds, walk away. They're just trying to see how many orbs they can farm up for Sarah and get her closer to that Hunter's Fury.
This time, though, there's tripwire in mid.
They found my wire.
Not going to get her too close. I do want to bring up for YFP, it's interesting because this is a relatively new roster in what their current form has brought, but there is history here for Shopify. Everyone knows that SR, this was their big year where they first qualified to Challengers, had that opportunity to finally play in that Tier 2 circuit, but it didn't go their way. They got sent down to the promotion relegation circuit, and who did they play there? None other than Corrupt. Corrupt, who also was playing Challengers with a different team than YFP. And in the elimination match, for SR to lose their spot in Challengers, it was Corrupt's team that knocked them out. Now, it's a very different team alongside them here, and it's very different stakes. It's now Shopify's domain, where they always dominate, but a chance for them to get revenge on the player who knocked them out of Tier 2.
Yeah, you know, it's always, for the Shopify squad, it's always been about pushing forward and trying to make a dent in the challenger scene on top of continuing to dominate in Game Changers, but there's been other individual players usually around the scene in GC that are competing up in challengers, like Corrupt. Corrupt, the one to really make a mark this year for sure.
And the players, the teams that have tested them, you look at Blue Water, who took a map, you look at YFP, who almost beat them in a series, and there's Corrupt, there's Bob, there's these players that are also searching for those same goals that Shopify has exemplified as a team.
Seems like every year, more players moving forward and more teams advancing deeper and deeper. Now though, Shopify, they do have the guns and are really continuing to play for mid-space. It's been a pattern of Mel's to try and repeat a lot of these similar looking rounds, except instead of the pistol round where it was a cut into B, this time the team heads A.
And they're even leaving an embed there. Dodo will stick around and hold space as SRG just flood this map. Diving in his scary shot. No one's trying to make the play, but she was just so alone there.
Yeah, trying for a little bit too much, and now Noya goes up into heaven on her own. Now this lurk, as you mentioned, is gonna not even see the clone, ironically. YFP are a little bit trapped up in heaven. The longer they wait, the longer it gives Dodo Nut to continue advancing on the flank. So it's time to move on in. A good flash out of Corrupt. And now Corrupt actually gets 3 kills onto the round. Alexis up in heaven to try and equalize, and Corrupt down on so little HP. So many positions these players can be in. Alexis will find 3 kills on the round to get Shopify on the board.
What a way to do it. Shopify, like you're setting up there, it has been a day, in my mind, not about any one individual player. In the past, we've always talked about Shopify as how good the individuals are, how much a step above they are. I don't think there's been any one person who's done it. Today, for me, has just been about Mel out-calling YFP at every step. The game planning on their attack sides of both Map 1 and Map 2 were perfect. Here, you already see her starting to set up these different strings to play at with that fake into B that then becomes something a little different in round 3.
Double scan util popped by YFP into B main. That's a lot of information. Utility spent out just to find out exactly where Shopify had Showed a little noise already. Keep your eyes, though, on A, this orb going for Alexis. And now the wall boost up from Noya. They messed this up the other day. This time, they get it exactly right, being held by Nora. We're actually Glowstick back on site. Now the dart, though, the layers continue in from Shopify. It's not just a one-step approach. And Glowstick will end up falling eventually. 1 HP on Mel, where the rest of the team is into the site, and the res comes in too.
That's so nice out of Shopify. You saw YFP was set up to hold for that wall boost, but the second the wall boost comes in, it's just buying attention for the Vault and the flood into the site.
Yeah.
Gets him an advantage by 2.
And it's so important too when that play is 4 years old on Ascent at this point, but making sure those timings are all coming in at the right moment, so even if someone is looking up at the window, you've got Dodonut ready to swing out of a smoke on a flash and punish.
Crazy. I still don't know how Pittsburgh Knights won every map with the Sage comp on this one. I hope someone else in the audience got that and remembers the
If you were watching 2022 NA Challengers, you know about the Pittsburgh Knights. The OG Sage abusers on this map. Funny to see Alexis picking up after so long, after really Ascent has kind of gotten an overhaul in the last year, not in terms of the map, but in terms of the comps everyone was playing. First, it started being a lot more of the
I thought you meant in terms of the map, but I was like, dude, blocking off one wall is not an overhaul.
But look at the comps now compared to before. The double sentis being so popularized with the Deadlock. Now it's the Sage, the Yoru really taking over. I think Shopify Rebellion, one of the first GC teams, start following up and playing a whole lot of these double senti Yoru ideas, and it's made this map very strong for them.
I remember even before Yoru became cool on this map, Mel switched to playing the Cypher instead of the Killjoy very early here. They've always liked to experiment a bit. They opt for Zoriental though, in the hands of Sherrod. Instead, on this Yoru, but already darted out, and Zoriental's gonna have to leave.
It's interesting to see if Shopify would try to stick around on A, anticipating the Yoru to TP back away. Now Zoriental is eyeing up into the mid space. Shopify need to be careful as they advance through. That's one of 2 hero rifles, the saves from the last round of YFP.
It's going to be 3 players ready to overwhelm. No TP this time.
Swing up from Dodo just deletes Zoriental. Well, that's one way to simplify the round. Operator may be possible to recover from Corrupt. They'll pick that one up, and now Sherrod has a Sheriff in hand, but a flash pushes them back away from the line. Clone causes some problems with Sarah following in. Rest of Shopify just making easy work of this round.
You see how much the Sage can help to simplify the map once you have mid control. Normally you have to be threatened if you're trying to leave a player in towards market of that flood through CT. But just putting up the wall there means that YFP are always having to full rotate through CT, and it allows you to just full focus your attention on watching that angle in your post plants. That doesn't really become a factor here because SR just run over the site before it becomes one. But with time left on the spike and Shopify knowing about this operator, they're gonna go on the hunt. See if they can find Glowstick.
Trying to secure the off. I don't like Glowstick's chances. See where Noya's headed. It is a full pinch. Actually, Noya heads back into spawn. That might be what they need. Corrupt dropping there does actually unlock the null command, so ultimate secured, but no operator to be carried over into the next round, and looking at the money, that'll be a big loss. No one on YFP is gonna have enough to go for that, outside of, I think maybe there could be a glass off, but that surely won't be the call. The call will be a timeout for YFP on the other side.
Yeah, much earlier in this game than in the previous ones where they were waiting until really deep in the second half to actually try and make that adaptation. I think the biggest problem right now has to be mid control. Every round Shopify has been taking that space and either committing to these B splits or at least throwing up the wall and feigning it. I think that if you're YFP, you want to be trying to get your Yoru embedded into mid 1 or fighting up to at least pressure Shopify there. Force them to invest the drone, util of some kind to clear that space. They can't be allowed to just get this so easily and then have their pick of which site they want to split into.
Yeah, and there are ways of still making it not always as predictable as that. You can run that play where you peek out bot mid. If you find no one, walk out Oppo Rosa, like you're talking about. But there's also tools. You have double flash agents as well. You can flash out of smoke cats or the smokes that SRG are putting down into middle. There's so many active fighting tools YFP have. I want to see them activate that a little bit more.
Yeah, as an example, Shopify has normally been throwing this mid 2 smoke on their default and then contacting into mid 1 without using a lot of util. If you can just like have a dart ready to go off your Yoru flash, off timing, you can really easily pop through and try and get a punish into there. I think that is what you're going to see here is that Yoru sets up in mid. What exact approach will they go for, though?
The problem is, Dodo has dimensional drift, so Mel is just going to call an exec. This is the way. For Mel, when you have the ultimate, why waste any time? It's so powerful. Fully can scout out away from a site and allow your team to get in. But YFP are quick to respond. They've abandoned the mid space, and now with a knife
But look how much
SR,
how much they've done here. They literally just start towards B main. That is immediately, oh, the Yoru that was going to be fighting in towards mid is gone. We've pulled them into B, and now they can go back and do their mid default.
Getting that push and pull down onto YFP.
And once they're done clearing this space, they can still just go back and 5-player exec with the Yoru wall. That's not off the menu yet.
Who's next?
Maybe having ideas to move in through tree. See if we can scout out any of the Cypher utility, what the hold is on that side of the map, but a quick teleport back into market. Spots out 2 players, the rest of Shopify Rebellion. Quick on the heels. Moving on forward, but no wall back in spawn. Gives Oriental a moment to take this shot. Now 40 seconds left on the clock. Shopify Rebellion firmly committed towards the B side of the map. As I say that, though,
are they, Christy?
This wall gives them an opportunity. You would have thought they'd be, with Noya playing up into B main, but now with the clock winding down, they try to make this mad dash back into A. Couple of tripwires in their way, and Sherrod moving back into heaven. Sherrod has a chance now to fully disrupt Shopify. Corrupt also heading into this side of the map. 15 seconds left, and Sherrod going wide. Sherrod waiting and taking these shots. First kill goes their way, and Corrupt will keep things calm up into heaven. Now, as the spike goes down, YFP take a moment. They have a flank activating from Zoriental on the other side, and plenty of time to play with.
Noya has to be the game changer in this round, but she cannot now. Alexis stuck alone on the site.
Swing out from heaven from Glowstick, takes it. YFP only lost the 1 player, and yeah, you know, it did seem like Shopify may be changing their mind a little bit too late into the round, trying to cut back to A there.
Credit to Sherrod figuring out at the right timing to run back into A and be up in heaven to lock down that space. Earlier in the round, though, I think a mistake from Shopify as they worked that split through mid. As the smoke fell, they were a little late to throw up the Sage Wall from Alexis, so there was a gap for that kill to happen from CT. If that kill doesn't come through and Shopify have an early wall, then I think they can be way more effective in actually either committing to that B hit or full selling the fake. And with that player down, it just becomes all the more hard to make it happen.
And now, as a matter of course, Dodo without the dimensional drift, this gives the opportunity for Zoriental to look down bot mid. Just like you were hoping to see from them.
They're just gonna fight up here.
Teleport has been
and
set
find
up
that moment.
right behind them. It's a fake. Zoriental with a quick flick to check. But Shopify choosing not to step into mid, instead going back to the tried-true playbook from the last few maps, reset into a 5-player exec on B.
This time they want Volts to work it. Haywalt available for retake for YFP, but this drone, at just the wrong timing, it only sees the Cypher.
Yeah, Noya intentionally stepping forward to shoot that, so no one else is spotted. YFP continue to challenge onto the line. Nora needs to back away from this one. Shock Dart can get a little bit of chip damage and a paranoia to stall things away. Now as a drone reveals Glow, they have to fall back into the site. Shopify Rebellion are here to play. A quick flash in sends Dodo Nut backwards. And now a wall back onto CT. Glow and Nora have no assistance coming in. They have to hold their own from backside. They're holding it nicely so far. First kill goes their way, locking it down. Nora with 3. And there's no chance for Noya to play the rest of this round out. That spike sitting down in the middle of sight. Nora dominating from backside position. It's all of a sudden a couple more kills get added to the kill feed, but it's YFP on the board.
That round went exactly how Shopify wanted. They found their timing to go back into B. They get the wall off to cut the rotates. But what they did not calculate is how much Nora could do backside. There was no support for those 2 players, but single-handedly, she locks that space down.
Well, good news for Coach Hate Watchers out there. Effies is not a fraud. He's going to call his first time out of the entire series here on map number 3. after
Who are the
Shopify
coach
lose a
hate
couple rounds.
watchers out here? Are you
Me,
just
I'm a
back
coach hate
thinking like,
watcher.
yeah, when you were on Teddy Tactics, I had to do all these timeouts. If only I was Shopify's coach, I would never have to timeout.
No, when I was on Teddy, I was the person who was like, no, I kind of liked what my IGL just said there. I'm not going to call a timeout. And then they'd lose the round and be like, I should have called a timeout. And sometimes
fair.
I can imagine those positions being felt. This time Effie's trying to get in front of it after maybe a couple of awkward rounds. You mentioned the late Sage Wall in just 2 rounds ago, but this time resetting into a 5-player hit got completely shut down, Mimi.
Yeah, Shopify was finding a lot of success early with taking this mid control into these late execs. I still think going for something like that is generally a good idea until they have more power ults to actually send harder executes. But what they haven't really tested is over towards this A site too much. Mostly, they've been constantly threatening this deep wall towards mid 3 and then pressuring these mid splits. They're only ever finishing A late. So I like to see them starting a couple players A main, pressuring that space early, trying to get an embed and giving themselves more options for a late round pivot.
Yeah, and you don't have to overcommit to the fight either. You can challenge these early duels because you have the insurance of the Sage res behind it. Allows Dodo to continue farming away at orbs. Even with a camera being put on the other side of the map into B main, Shopify might just play to orb max this round.
And no matter how you start these rounds, if you're Shopify, you are quite incentivized to slow down because you're playing against the Yoru, right? You want to figure out where that player is, either force out the gate crash or just let that go down on timings. Because if you exec early and they have a cross-map TP ready to go, it becomes so much harder to actually find success on an exec.
Well, Shopify resetting 5 players into B again. Last time it was the backside players bundled up there that were a problem, but also Shopify maybe a little bit disjointed on the approach, weren't holding all the right angles. This time we're just getting spammed through smoke. Sherrod is just dancing on Shopify. They thought they could do something, run back the last round, but it fails in a massive way.
They had a problem with 2 players. Now there's 3 on site. How does Shopify navigate this? Sarah's going to step up into market.
Watching here.
30 can't find a pick. Maybe CT's the answer?
If you get a kill, there could be reses, but you got to go quickly. Mel jumping around the corner. 1-for-1's not good enough, quite frankly. Maybe, though, Sarah only needs that. Except the Sherrod in the corner. And more players coming in. That Omen ult has mentioned. Nora is that late dagger to win the round for YFP.
So these hard execs get shut down in the last few rounds. Credit to the B anchors from YFP. The first time this series, it feels like it's YFP actually in some semblance of control. Their ult economy is good. They've reset Shopify down to a light buy. But they're going to have to, for the first time this game, face up against what looks to be just a harder exec on this A site. This can still be dangerous. If they get kills, Alexis has res. This has a chance to snowball.
Sheriffs and Stingers, though, from Shopify. I'll need to be able to trade off of one another, and this knife tagging 3 players makes it much more challenging to commit in. Still, it seems like Nora might want to just step on through this. That is way too gutsy.
I know exactly where you are.
Just dropping instantly. Now Zoriental also looking for a little bit more. YFP all over the place on the anti-eco. High flash from Dodo. Now a teleport into the site. All of a sudden, Shopify are back on in with the numbers as well, and the boost up from Alexis. A Vandal in hand. Ultimate's committed into the 4 as Glowstick tries to find some way back into this round. It's messy with 2 players of Shopify still waiting back in main. A high-low setup to guard against the swing in heaven. Now, though, with the drone spotting those players, YFP know at least what they're heading into. Corrupt has an ult command as well. If these kills go their way. Now, a Hunter's Fury on the other end, but the kills on site go YFP's way. Sarah's low. Alexis has a res, but no bodies left for her to go ahead and play with. Puts Sarah into a 1-on-2. The wide hold from Zoriental is there, and YFP steady to move up to 6.
But that round was way too scary. YFP have been testing this space in A main round after round, and they've been getting away with it because of the lack of Shopify's pressure here. Posting up into main, lose out on an early player. Could have been so much worse if not for the last 3 members of YFP taking the time to retake together. The critical kills of this round really coming from Corrupt, working out from Market Door pretty much alone, getting onto both of those lovely shots. Somehow bailing their team out of this round.
Now the result of that round, as a matter of fact, is Sarah ended up using the Hunter Fury, thinking there was a chance to win the round, so it ends up being a slight win for YFP, all things considered. Now Paranoia set up with quick teleport into Wine, fully revealed as a matter of fact, and these A main fights turning into a bit of a mess for YFP. Refight now, but out in Wine, no one's going to be looking at that one. YFP really overplaying their hand and continuing to try for it.
Cover going out.
They need to rethink how they want to take these duels in main, don't they?
Yeah, part of the issue too is once that slow orb gets thrown down, no matter how much util you use, you just cannot get out from that
that wall.
Sherrod!
That wall was a complete disaster. Alexis with a big mistake. Although it is still Shopify with the numbers. After the pandemonium of A main, Glow has dropped down into the site. Now droned up, gets the first kill, and it's close. But Sarah takes the round.
I don't think it was a mistake from Alexis. I think that Sherrod was standing in exactly where she wanted to place the wall, and because Sherrod was so close to the edge, in trying to place it, the geometry didn't work out, and that last section broke on Sherrod's body.
Oh!
I'm pretty sure that's... I'm wondering if we can see it in the replay here.
I hope so.
Here's that fight in A main that went so wrong.
It
Really
can
tried
be hard to hear when
It
can be hard to hear when the chunks get broken. I'm not so sure.
Yeah, do you see here how there was a fourth section that I think got broken? I'm not 100%. Either way, Sherrod made a hell of a go. We're into the next round. Dodo feigning pressure with the ult, but going back towards A.
Yeah, it's an inverse of the last dimensional drift, and this time in the game of chickens, Oriental will be the first to leave. Now Dodo, without backup, thinks to challenge onto the line. Not fooled by the clone. Waiting for her moment to strike, waiting for Zoriental to challenge, and the patience pays off. The boost up into main, Sarah on top of the wall. Now wants to use these shock darts to force Corrupt out into the open, and it's beautiful. Shopify playing off of one another in a nice way. Takes down two players, and those were two major ults, the big trump cards for YFP into the round. Now sees them without much of a chance. Sherrod is able to sneak out of heaven, and now left in a 1-on-4. This time, no Sage Wall to challenge in front of, and no chance even to play that with Sarah taking them straight out of it.
We're seeing a worrying theme rear its head for YFP, where anytime they are down a player, everyone is just trying to make the play. Constantly, it's like, okay, we're in a 4v5, someone's trying to swing through a smoke, someone's trying to take the moment, and that works against most of the teams in Game Changers because of how talented this team is, and it has worked at times in this series, but it also means that they're kind of robbing themselves of the opportunity to play 4v5 rounds, retakes, more set ideas that they could have a better chance into, and thanks to that, Shopify have weaseled their way through in a lot of these rounds. Now the last in the half. SR stay happy with their pressure towards A that they figured out after Effie's timeout.
It's pretty rare for Shopify to step back into mid, and I think Zoriental clued into that. Just fully walked down into Catwalk. Shopify have been disrespecting that space, not putting attention into it. So playing this round out without Sarah's dart, a little bit more challenging to re-clear the B main space. You see Sherrod step back in there, and that's with a Bucky Mimi.
But the res is here. Sarah's going to come back online.
And now there's a drone, a dart. Maybe it's a little bit easier to flush out Sherrod. That is, unless this drone is spent up trying to deal with mid.
That's exactly where it's going. Your ult gets popped. Did that seem melody?
Hello? Just timing's taken. Pays off massively. Now Glowstick can turn around with this Odin, eye up market, knowing exactly what the intention of Shopify is.
I don't think that your ult's on Mel. She has a free kill top mid.
That she does. And she will find, but Zoriental gets the kill first. Okay, yeah, SRG, they can pivot back into A, but there's still two players here. It's not like Nora's a non-factor. It's a Stinger, sure, but she's going to hear all the footsteps. Maybe even think about taking a moment through the smoke. Dodo just face checks it herself. And now it's Alexis alone. Fake plant first, but with 15 seconds left, eventually she's going to have to look to stick it. And the longer she waits, the easier it is for YFP to challenge her. Here it comes. Odin held first kill for Alexis, but the trades come through, and YFP will have the lead by 2 at the half.
That is a muddier round for Shopify, but YFP take advantage of every moment of the chaos, and for the first time this series, come out the better of a half. 7-5 up in this one. Shopify figured out a great theme with these later A finishes, but for YFP, credit where credit is due. Got one key retake back into A, and then getting their proactivity in through mid towards the end. Make this a very solid half for both sides.
I mean, it's the first time all series YFP has won more than 4 rounds in a map, and they do it in a half. And this is a team that showed so much grit in yesterday's reverse sweep versus Wadada, surprising so many after the results of those first few maps. And now, staying steady, staying calm, and challenging Shopify here down 0-2.
You were selling it earlier, but after you win a series like that, a reverse sweep, you will never not believe in yourself again. You always think that there's still that chance, there's still that moment where you can come back. I think you see that for YFP.
Yeah, for a team so young as well, coming together in the last couple months, that experience is invaluable. Those difficult moments banding together and finding a way to continue fighting become a factor when your backs are against the wall again. It's the best team in North America. But now a pistol. Looking to pop out onto B. Here's the utility, but a good counter paranoia from Mel. Stalls this out. What a... Whoa! Zorian's behind enemy lines! It's mayhem here! As some go back and forth. 2 for 2 to start things off. Mel dealt with onto the site. And Alexis might even try to get involved before her teammate comes back in.
Do they think she walks lane this early? Yes. Glow stick is ready for it. But it's still a bit of a one-on-one here. Alexis waits for the team.
Yeah, the smoke was awkward, waiting for that one to go down. Sherrod around the corner with quiet jump up, a little bait and switch, and still secures the kill. YFP win back-to-back pistols here on Ascent.
And those are the kind of rounds that you look at as the success points for YFP when it comes to the big team brawls, when they just get to fight together in the chaos on a site. That is where their individuals really start to shine. And what a key it is to pick up both these pistols. SR gonna have horrible money, just the classics to work with, and YFP have a chance to go up 9-5 here.
It's also a really meaty buy out of YFP, right? Like, we're getting 4 guns over the 2,000 credit price point. Not every day you see that on round number 2, but it speaks to an idea of YFP really wanting to challenge again in round 15. Wanting to take these longer range duels.
Yeah, I'm gonna go for a gamble stack on B here, but for the side of YFP, they're gonna take their time, maximize the orb towards A main, and just look to convert this one cleanly.
Cleanly, calmly, slowly. Now finally running back over to the B side. Seems like they want to get these orbs online on Corrupt. A little bit interesting there, trying to make sure that KO has that online.
Get the orb, great. I love that.
Good. Now, okay,
Just
a high-low is
don't
great.
get into the gamble stack.
3-player stack is good. Unfortunately,
I think
the
that's
one thing
4
a high-low falls to is 1 flash, and YFP have 4 of them.
True.
Let's see if Shopify
And also,
can
they're not
deal.
going there. I think that they want to finish back towards A with Yoru embedded close corner here.
This is making me a little bit nervous now that we're 35 seconds onto the clock and
Oh,
YFP
it's
have
fine.
done nothing. They're gonna be fine because they are headed A, and that's the weak side.
Now, it wouldn't have been fine, possibly, if they had went B.
Yes,
Possibly.
yes.
It
Now,
could have also been fine.
surely this will be fine. You'd have to imagine. Full classics from Shopify. They've actually really liked doing this. Just full saves, not even wanting to have a chance, really, all things considered. Now just ready
Oh,
to...
are they going for... Oh, I thought there was a stage
Everyone
wall.
into
No,
the
they're just
smoke.
flooding
It's gonna
out.
fall down, jump on in, get all the kills you can. Now, Shorty, making it a little bit more challenging for Shopify to find much of anything. That paranoia catches both players, but close range, not the most effective. 2 players end up falling, and I think that is slightly meaningful. You take one of the larger guns, one Bulldog, out of YFP's hands.
Yeah, you're fine with 1 dying that round for the Marshall player. That's the reason why most teams, when you see them go for a meaty round 2 buy, they'll do like 3 rifles and then 2 pistol players because you can afford to lose players without losing out on that money. And that's why it is so risky to go for a big buy like they did. The implication, of course, is it's Oriental now just has a Sheriff, and Shopify get to show us what they have on defense.
It's
the
interesting.
stage changes things a bit.
Because YFP could have, they have 1 player buying down to nothing. They could have chosen to make sure that they had 2 full rifles purchased. They had the money for it. End up not going for it. Just liking
With
their odds
Corrupt
on the half buy.
on 3-5, they can probably like get 2 guns and half armor into the next round. Okay, Dodo. Just takes a timing in mid and gets that one.
I think important to see Dodo take the moments to get the early kill. Sometimes it can be a little harder to activate with the Yoru on the attack side. You're not as explosive on the entries as your Waylays, your Jets, your Raises. Dodo had a quieter first half, but on defense, that's where the agent thrives, and now with a quick reposition on the teleport, jump peek top mid, 9 HP. Time to maybe bail away from this one.
Look at the heal and stabilize a bit. This is very good map control for YFP. They've posted up deep into mid. They've seen, I think, 2 players on that knife towards B. But they're still hoping for a pick.
Corrupt just wants to lodge in top mid. Listen for rotates. Cut away at them, perhaps. Although, Mel, how do you play around these smokes? It's a little bit mad.
30 seconds
Corrupt
left.
calls the team back into middle. And this is oh, no! Gets brutalized on the timing. Now the spike without any real idea of where to go. No one's looking at the right corners. Shopify with a flawless round.
These slower rounds for YFP is where it can get a little make or break. You saw them lose to themselves a bit on the time on Abyss, and here does not work out either.
And I think the reason it falters here is Mel's positioning in the tree smoke. If Mel isn't up in there, Shopify don't realize that it's a fake for another 10 seconds, and these mid kills don't go their way.
And you see multiple players on Shopify there being so willing to get proactive. Mel is pushing out of that tree smoke, like you're saying at the beginning. It's Dodo literally just taking a timing swing bottom mid. But YFP will simplify the game here. They're sending heavy towards A, and Mel is the one anchoring.
Early Sage slow end the wall. Make it nigh impossible to continue advancing in, although a teleport gives a chance. Nora's just into it, but there's 0 follow-up. There's even a paranoia coming from the other side, so YFP are sent packing.
That's a questionable one for Scary Shark, for Nora there, because there wasn't even like a Yoru TP to get in either. I think she thought with the only player being the Sage tucked, she'd have a chance to TP in and get a timing.
Look at this position from Noya as well. Early drone in top mid has no chance of clearing away this spot. So now Zoriental, the non-factor into the round. YFP are scattered around the map.
And despite having players in a lot of different positions, SR have a player tucked deep in mid 1, so they'll have fast rotates either way. There's still Sentinel util set up on B as well.
So frustrating to play against this double Senti comp, because the majority of rounds they're just bunkered behind their utility, stalling you out when you try and attack mains, but Shopify still find the timings to allow a player like Noya to get aggressive, right? You'd expect, as YFP, when you see Dodonut fighting you over on the A side of the map, okay, no one's going to have stepped into mid. The Cypher would have to be crazy to do that. And yet Noya gets the info, gets the kill, shuts it down, and forces out this save.
10 seconds left.
Yeah, it is just a stinger for Glowstick. I think you definitely want to try and go for a gun here. Yeah. Noya will hear the pickup. Might go for the swing.
At 1 second,
just gonna wait till the
guns.
last second.
Yep, I like
Smart.
it. I like it. You have to switch. Okay, there we go. I don't know why I was getting nervous, but I was getting nervous right there when the clock ticked to 1.
I like that that's like the most nervous you've been watching this whole game. Is like, oh my, are they going to actually pick up the gun? They did. All good. All right, so guns are going to be up.
That's the biggest tilter moment if you don't pick that one up. That's worse than losing a round, I think.
Just slam your desk off that one. Kind of a weird buy for YFP. They tried early that round to go for a fast hit towards A, but you just cannot hard hit these Sage sites. The stall is too good. So YFP have to feign enough pressure to figure out where Alexis is, to bait out her slow orbs, and then you can kind of reset and re-hit in the late round.
It's annoying too, because the Sages, first of all, we have a lineup for B site if there's pressure there.
Yeah.
But the Sage is a great answer into KO, because you always hear the knife coming, so you always have time to get off either a slow orb or a wall, and make it impossible to quickly scale in.
And whenever you're using the KO knife, you're almost always dumping your Sova Dart as well. So if you hit one well-timed slow orb or wall, but you have 3 of those full stall abilities, you make your opponent wait a whole nother initiator util cycle.
Yeah. 40 seconds on this patch, 60 on the next.
Oof.
Gonna get worse and worse. Alexis's Sage has done well to get Shopify back
the
into
reason
half.
Alexis is playing here for a lineup instead of on-site, it's an anti-KO setup, so off contact, she'll still have stall util.
Real and true and base. Now, Sarah's anti-KO technology is just to have an Odin here and to play off of that slow orb. As you called it, picture perfect from Shopify Rebellion with 4 players now on the B site, 30 seconds remaining. A teleport straight into the tripwire that Dodo capitalizes on. And now with the clock winding down, there's no fight back into spawn. YFP have nowhere really to go. And so much to lose as well. As Shopify mount this comeback now, bullets going in through the walls.
One enemy remaining.
Destroying YFP without any chance to advance. Shopify take another. Oh, the beautiful anti-KO setup.
Yeah, that's so cool because this timing on that orb coming in, the lineup is a lot faster than I thought it would be. It lands before they're even going out into that site. And then you're getting stalled out. You finally have like your second wave of flashes ready to go. And by that time, Mel is already running over. She's made her way into backsite. You have the TP from the Yoru of Dodo as well. And suddenly, from a round that you should be at a huge advantage, you're now getting cut down in the site. And it's even worse, Christy, because their buy is... I mean, they can probably force this round, but it's really rough going into the next.
Yeah, we're getting onto the dregs now. I do want to quickly shout out our observers for showing us that lineup in real time before it went down.
Yeah.
Giving us that added little idea. And really, YFP now, with their second time out, are thinking about, A, how to actually make these execs work, running into multiple players, but also, like, they're so close to hitting some major ultimates now. These next few rounds, they need to be able to tap into those and capitalize. Or else Shopify are just going to carry all the momentum. It's already 3 in a row for them.
That's the second time I'd already used for YFP. What do they do out of it? Again, the crux of this game for me is really just how they can pull out the Sage util. Because you look at these last 3 rounds and they've ended up that way through different forms, but every single one has ended in a late round attempted retake where they're going into Alexis's utility and she is full stall to hit.
Well, Corrupt has sacrificed a KO Molly on the buy in order to guarantee light armor and a Vandal. YFP know how much the threat of that gun means in Corrupt's hands. And now some good utility to invalidate Dodo's operator bot mid.
Just using the flash dart combo there to reveal someone bot mid. Dodo is patient. We'll stick around and wait to repost off the op because that weapon is yet to show. And Dodo doesn't always op on this agent, so you might not be 100% ready for it.
It seemed like Corrupt was ready to take that fight anyways, even with the rifle, even with light armor. Dodo playing back into Pizza. Is scouted away, and now without a chance to teleport out, finds a clone. That's not the ideal targeting. Glowstick hard holding the confidence from these YFP players, from the initiators to hold their ground against the operator, pays off in a major way. And now with 40 seconds left onto the clock, YFP need to go on in, but it's into Alexis, and she's got the wall protecting her left shoulder. So she can look straight into Tree where she's got the assistance of Mel. Now with her IGL falling, Glowstick into the site, and the Odin from Sarah. Shopify trying to find some way to nip at the heels of YFP as they sneak into the site and get the spike down.
Sharad's going to provide so much pressure late round, though. You have to get them out of this position if you're SR.
Sarah has some idea of it, constantly checking her back, but she can't keep looking there forever. Not with Noya moving up into heaven. And moving out wide onto the line, so Sarah now into the site. Now Sharad pinching forward. YFP have players in all the perfect positions, but Noya is holding Tree. Has her teammates back, has her own. So Nora back into main, into a one-on-one. Pressure onto the spike, the reload caught! And it's Nora in the Red Bull clutch to bring YFP to 10.
So many rounds, it has been Noya the hero to save Shopify's rounds. They're denied. Nearly had it with the 3K, but it is Nora instead stepping up. She knows the implications. Was there at Game Changers Championship in the past. Then just a sub for that Evil Geniuses roster now. Trying to run it there herself. Trying to complete another reverse sweep to keep YFP's year alive. But what an important round it was to win here. If they lose this, the money is horrible. It's Shopify continuing to snowball, but instead, it's Nora to keep YFP in control and get them to 10.
And after getting bested by Nora's fake reload there into the swing, it'll be Effie's calling the second timeout of the series.
The issue, Christy, is I say their money is horrible if they lose that. Their money is also horrible after winning that. Because they don't even get that same big loss bonus, and well, now they're going to have to try and hobble together some kind of force here to keep the momentum.
You know, it's a shame Sherrod isn't playing the signature chamber, because then you could go ahead and press X this round and the buy would be perfectly fine. Of course, the dimensional drift, it means a Bucky. That's all right. But Corrupt, again, sacrificing. This time not utility. This time it's sacrificing armor to guarantee the Vandal. And actually changing their mind.
Though? Yeah, I'm wondering if this is where Shopify just want to simplify, go for a fight. They're going to post down mid with 3, but this is where YFP is all posted towards A main instead.
Who's next?
I mean, you're expecting an exec idea here, teleporting in front of the Sage Wall. Hard to scale behind it, and also hard to find a target with the Bucky. You might just see Zoriental hang out here onto the site. Hold on to this space, but with Dodo walking all the way into mid, it's allowed Shopify the advantage. Now dart tags everyone, the utility and the gunfire raining down. Sarah and Alexis, the combo piece dismantling YFP as they get cut down on the entry.
And there was a glimmer, there was hope, but Shopify call another timeout. They go for the mid-aggression, and that sets them up perfectly to get back into this site. There was only one player there on A. It was just Alexis. But the slow orb, the wall, is enough to buy time for the rest of her team to arrive, despite the Yoru making it through. To have that perfect utility from Sarah with the dart and the ult, and to retake control.
Recon dart, slow orb, Sova ult. Destruction. And YFP, now their money truly is broken. And Shopify on the verge of tying it up.
If you didn't win the last round, you're literally in a better economic position. But winning the one single round and then losing again, and you are just down to the dregs.
So, Shopify will drone on forward. Give a chance for Dodo to post up B main. Gives a whole lot of map control. There's even an early Sage Wall placed into tree. This is a little bit unique out of Alexis. Changing the pattern somewhat on the anti-eco. YFP are late to even realize it.
Yeah, I don't think they heard it go down. But if they do realize walking on in, I mean, they're going to make noise when they go through this smoke. But they find a good timing right as it falls.
Now coming down, of course, there's going to be a Sage Slow behind it. Alexis realizes, cuts her way out up into heaven. Can reinforce Mel on site. Expect YFP to maybe get a little aggressive outside of tree. As Mel re-challenges onto line, that door is being closed right in YFP's face!
Enemy remaining.
And Sherrod is on the wrong side of it. Wrong side to find the spike. On the wrong side of this round.
Yet again, Christy, the second that YFP actually get an exec going, the second they're coming through a choke, it's a perfect slow orb. Last round it was combined with the Sovault. This time, it's simply combined with Mel. Sets up for 3 as YFP just look like sitting ducks against that wall. And now, I mean, just what? Tying this game back up after going down 7-5 in the first half. Now, Shopify well and truly running this back.
This is the round. This is where it swings. YFP, buy down to nothing. They've got a Hunter's Fury. But this not only could send Shopify into the lead, but with a wall boost off play, Dodo secures the opener. Sherrod did take out Sarah back in B main, though.
Spike retrieved.
But they don't have any initial reaction off of that. Instead, with the Cypher ult used in a re-clear, SR have a lot of information here, and that allows them to get the res online in main.
Trading the Resurrect for maybe some tempo over on the A site. YFP are already here, but Shopify have some bodies ready to fight it out. Zoriental gets the first, but a good dart out of Sarah. That's cross map as well, just rotating over from B. Allows Dodo to secure a second.
And that earns the ultimate, too. Dodo's going to have that on the retake. There'll be Sarah to follow up with the Odin spam as well.
And not only are YFP down a player, but they also haven't planted the spike just yet. Shopify have them fully contained in here with a camera now spotting it out at least 2 of the players. Spike finally goes down. And now that ultimate, as mentioned, Dodo getting absolutely perfect information. And Noya pinching in as well on the other side. Back from main, the distraction rains on down, and Shopify Rebellion take the lead.
It looks too clean for Shopify. The wall boost in mid, perfectly reading a player swinging top mid. And then later in that round, despite Sherrod's pick on the lurk, they're using the Omen ult to re-clear. Then on the retake, it is another beautiful dart from Sarah that comes in at the perfect time to support. Her utility has been absolutely on point on this map.
Yep. I think Sarah and Alexis are just playing a completely lights-out game. I don't even care if they had 0 kills. Their utility alone is doing wonders. And you've got to give them credit.
The amount of easy kills that they have gifted their teammates just with slows and darts is incredible.
Yeah, study this game if you want to learn how to play a good Sage or a good Sova on the map. You can even see again, Alexis was in the position back in heaven with Corrupt having the null command online to play that cross-map slow if necessary.
And to pile on to the anti-KO setup, there's still going to be Cypher until no. Actually gets caught due to the split through mid, but who else is getting caught? Zoriental to Dodo's off down again.
Yeah, there's too many separate ideas, and these tripwires should be coming online soon. Yeah, there you have it. The one on lane is back up once again, and Sarah posted with the Odin. This is a round where YFP need to come up with something down a player. But they're down 2. It's just starting to slip away. YFP already down 0-2 in the series, now just getting turned into minced meat on the site. It is now series point, the year in the balance for YFP.
When you push Shopify Rebellion, when you have them on the ropes, you cannot miss. YFP had 3 chances to close out a 2-0 in the upper final, to force Shopify to run the gauntlet, to garner themselves a double ban advantage in this game. But they missed out. They couldn't close out map 2. They couldn't close out map 3. And now, after completing a reverse sweep to make it here, Shopify is in control, on the verge of a 3-0 victory.
YFP wasting no time, moving into B main. They don't even want to bother working the mid space. They just want to challenge. And this ultimate from Glowstick hasn't been able to find anything. YFP still haven't really made it out of the site except for Zoriental in the corner, now making a go at it. Have traded out. Advantage for them moving into the site, but Noya still not dealt with. Still 2 players left on the site. And Sarah inching forward, creeping on in. Glow snaps around and stays alive. YFP are in it.
Just another round to live. Glowstick the one to deliver. YFPX, after stage 1, they made 2 last-second additions, Sherrod and Glowstick. When I talked to Corrupt, the way that they found Glowstick, just looking at VLR, finding the highest-rated Flashes player and hitting them up. It was that simple, or Scout player, rather. But just took that chance on someone that they didn't even know, and what a boon they've been for this team, alongside Sherrod coming into the fray. 1 more round to make it to OT.
This time, YFP choosing a slower approach into the round. Trying to bring down the heart rate. Knowing that a chance on OT lies on the result of round 24 here.
Nora's been first death a few times in that position. This stun doesn't take the risk, backs away.
The YFP have no presence on the map whatsoever. Only now moving back up forward towards B. Have a drone to get back in if they need it.
Shock dart could come off this cam. They'll know early how many players are here.
There isn't a single ultimate in this round. Not yet, at least. Not until Zoriental picks up the orb and the spam from Noya. There it is. Zoriental out of it. No dimensional drift. And YFP are headed over towards A.
Shopify was so ready for that. They shut down the best chance YFP had. Now it is a desperate push to A.
This is a problem, Mimi. This is bad. 35 seconds on the clock. An operator holding. Dodo finds the mark. The IGL is gone. The slow orb keeps them locked up in main. Someone has to be the hero for YFP. Someone has to be able to do something, but it's Dodo to take them all down. Shopify Rebellion in 3-0 fashion are once again your North American Game Changers champions. They don't know what it means to lose.
Back to back at Game Changers Championship the previous 2 years, there was no doubt that it would be Shopify qualifying again with a chance to go for their three-peat in Seoul. What a game it was for them. They got tested this series as a whole, nearly losing in that upper final. But when it comes to the big games, when it comes to their qualification on the line, this squad does not mess around. 13-4, 13-4, and closing out a close final map to decimate YFP and end their year.
We've already seen a few teams around the world punch their tickets to go to South Korea. Shopify Rebellion will meet them on the battlefield. So many strong teams around the board, but Shopify, wherever they head in as the favorites. As you said though, Mimi, it is worth saying this is a heartbreaker finish to YFP. After pulling off the reverse sweep yesterday, their year will end. It will be Wadada taking their place in Brazil to play for the last spot they can find against the other Brazilian squads.
Yeah, and what a way it is to end for Shopify. This was the player Corrupt who beat them in promotion relegation, ended their bid in Challengers. Now it's Shopify to end Corrupt and YFP's bid to go to Seoul. They're your champions. You want to stick around though, because an interview with our winners coming up after the break.
The human body was built to move, not trapped at a desk in one singular posture for 12 hours a day. It's time your chair evolved. This is Secretlab Titan Evo. Ergonomically engineered for you, gamers, hybrid workers, artists, backing your every move.
Who's gonna stop me? Get it in row. Living the life I will keep on control. Giving it up to my people stand tall. You know the deal, I will give it my all. Underrepresented on the move. Really wanna start me, let me through. Take a risk, take a ride with me. Wanna flip the society. Underdog, overlooked. Underestimated, I don't lose. Take a risk, take a ride with me. On the edge, looking down from a cliff.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Shopify Rebellion do it again. They win yet another grand final, and they've now booked their tickets and their flights all the way to Seoul to compete on the international stage. Welcome back to VALORANT Game Changers North America. I'm Doug. With me is Wyatt and Dan. And guys, we just saw probably maybe the most Shopify performance of all time. Dan, where does that rank for you?
They've had a little bit of everything in their careers. They've had really one-sided grand finals, very close grand finals as well. And I think this one was a bit more rough towards the beginning, but on this map, it got a lot closer. We really thought that YFP just had enough rounds, not only in the defensive side, but also moving forward, and it was just not enough. It seems like every time they think that Shopify Rebellion is going to go down, that the pressure is too much, that they don't have enough rounds to work with. They always prove you wrong, and they do it once again to win it all.
Yeah, it felt like the second they started coming back a little bit, we all felt like, oh, it's happening. They're just about to 3-0. You could just sense it. Like, because they are just so sure of themselves in these situations, in these high-pressure games, in these grand finals. They just know what it takes to win. They've done it a million times. And even in this main event for the final stage this year that felt so hyper-competitive and top-heavy with a lot of contenders, they still make it one-sided somehow at the very end.
Yeah, I mean, just to be fair, in the face of a lot on the side of YFP. I mean, there was Nora had a couple of really big moments there, and obviously that's not even the first half notwithstanding. YFP gave them a lot, and fortunately for them, or fortunately for Shopify, because of the heroics from Noya, as we saw a couple of times, even digging deep into the playbook and hitting that wall boost stop shot from Market for Dodo, those little things proved to be the difference maker, but it was not without one hell of a fight from YFP. And now, Dan, we can talk about it a little bit more here, but this does not only impact YFP.
No, I mean, Shopify Rebellion, they have their ticket booked to Korea. They're going to be directly going to Game Changers Championship. But on the other side, YFP, even though they get eliminated, that means that Warada are going to make it to the last chance qualifier all the way in Brazil. We saw some of the players talking about it in social media, just being very excited about, just waiting for Shopify Rebellion to get that win and praying that they were going to get the win. They get in a pretty easy fashion in 3-0, and that means that for the LCQ in Brazil, we're going to have MIBR, Peru, and now Warada. So it's going to be a really good one. We've never had an America's LCQ for Game Changers.
By the way, for that last map, just want to give some credit where it's due. Out of those 14 first kills that Shopify got, 9 of them were from Dodo Nut in that game. She went crazy to close out the series.
As speaking of which, we do have Donut standing by for the Verizon post-match interview, so let's go ahead and pull her into this. Donut, unreal. Map 3. I mean, let me take a step back, actually. Unreal tournament, Unreal series from you guys today. Massive congratulations on the big win. Wild performance on Map 3 in particular. How good does this win feel?
Honestly, me personally didn't expect to go in 3-0 YFP. Our last BO3, they push our limits. Like, they're a good group of people and they're very talented, but when it's grand finals, we lock in and we just 3-0 them.
Dodo, there was a little something extra out of you. It felt like watching you play today. It felt like you were playing with a lot of confidence. It felt like you were playing like you belonged in the grand finals. You knew that this was essentially Shopify's to win. Was there a different mindset in this series today relative to your previous matchup against YFP?
Honestly, this week has been a little rough for me mentally, and I put in a lot of effort to reset my mental and just be confident. And Alexis really helped me do this week. And last night I just took time to myself and I guess just do a little pep talk and just be confident.
Well, Dodo, it freaking worked. I saw it in the server, whatever you did. It was incredible. It worked. You had a wild performance today. I did want to ask you one last question about YFP. You mentioned it earlier. You feel like they're obviously a very good team. They managed to push you guys more than once. I think we saw it on Ascent as well. What is it about that team that kind of gives you guys fits sometimes?
I I think they're like a pug team, so it's really hard to like, I guess, read them or know what they're doing. And they do a lot of like good push and pull, like mid round, and there's always like question marks on the map. And our coaches did a lot of good work behind the scene to like make sure we're prepared for the push and pull, basically.
So the last question for you, and then I'll let you go celebrate with the team. And obviously, you guys got some planning to do. You got to figure out heading to Seoul and, you know, this, that, and the other for the biggest tournament of the year. With that in mind, what is, if maybe you can identify one thing, what would you say is one of the biggest things that you feel like Shopify will be working on heading towards Seoul?
I guess maybe just, I don't know, changing the little strats. I think mentally and as team, we already are good at like not being down and always being happy, having fun. It's a video game after all. And yeah.
That perspective is often missed. Dodo, congratulations on the win. Congratulations really on the stage. And I'm so excited to watch you guys perform in Korea. We're going to go ahead and let you go again. Congrats. And thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you. Take care.
The mental was reset. The confidence was there. The pep talk and everything, whatever it was, it worked. And Dodo went nuclear on map 3, Wyatt.
Yeah, crazy performance. Again, it's that 9 first kills out of 14 for the team overall. Then also, Alexis just continuing the string of crazy Sage games back to back now.
Yeah.
Has dropped 21 kills playing the Sage there, which is also wild. Sick comeback to close it out after being down this Shopify team. As always, just so legit and feels like a favorite to win GCC heading into it.
Well, let's take a look at the bracket and points one last time. Dan, you mentioned it earlier, but I want to give you a chance once again to talk through what the implications of today were, because while there were only 2 teams that were competing, there were 3 who were kind of in this messy, convoluted dance about who's going to get to go where and who's left on the outside looking in.
Yeah, so as I mentioned before, this Game Changers this year is a little bit different because we're going to have an LCQ. So as you see, Shopify Rebellion, they get that first place, so they qualify directly to Seoul because of that. But on the other hand, because Warada had a lot of points throughout the year from stage 1, because they made it to the grand finals, and now stage 2, that they got it to 3rd place, they are the team that is going to qualify to LCQ through points. And that means they will be traveling to Sao Paulo. They're going to be traveling to Brazil to compete against MIBR and Crew. And I'm so excited because for Warada, all of these players, they have different levels of experience, right? You think about Starbound, you think about Power Pixel and what they were able to do last year when they made it to that international. But this time around, with that mix of the newer players, I want to see, you know, if we can have the 2 NA teams make it to Seoul.
What do you make of the 3 teams that are going to competing in going to be competing in LCQ? Obviously, we know the kind of commodity that Warada is. Do you favor them given the rest of the field, Dan?
I honestly, okay, I'm gonna be real here. Our grand final was a 3-0. The LATAM grand final for Crew was a 3-0. But if you watch the Game Changers final for Brazil, it was the most insane grand final ever. We had SRN drop 50 kills as well and lose that last map. So I think I want to favor a little bit of MIBR, but I think Warada also has a really good chance. It's very close, honestly, between the 3, and you never know when they're in that international stage what can happen.
I mean, that's why they play it. LAN is a different beast. That is going to do it for us. That's going to do it for the stage. That's going to do it for the year. Domestically too, which is always kind of sad. It's kind of a sad note to end on, but there is more international Valorant to come. As Dryad put together, we do have LCQ, and then we have Seoul, the biggest tournament of the year for Game Changers in 2025. From everyone behind the scenes who's put this show together, from the talent team that has joined me, the casters as well, thank you all so much for joining us, not just today, but through this entire bracket, through this entire stage. It's been a ton, and the best is it's been a ton of fun, and the best is yet to come. Until next time, have a good night.
Hi, I'm Alexis, and I play for Shopify Rebellion Gold.
Alexis clutched this round out, mow them down. They didn't collect the weapons. Goes and set on the offensive.
Was second round, Rez. Gonna play it for the kill, and it's only to put Melly.
Game Changers, it's about competition, pure happiness. It's like a crazy experience. We're making history. It means so much to us.
It's good to be back.
I guess you know what I've been looking for, success.
The beauty of gaming is it doesn't matter who you are. And as long as I'm good enough,
everybody's getting a 4K.
I can go as far as I want.
That's what I like to see, baby.
全世界都会知道我们的厉害。